This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome to episode 148. I'm your host, Colteastwood of the X&C Podcast, here with my co-host, middle-aged game guy, Meg. How are you doing this fine afternoon?
I am doing afternoon. It's already nighttime over here in Toronto, but yes, I am doing great. Colt, we got a great show tonight. We got some things to talk about. I see the chat's already bothering me. Tricks for Trey, I see you already talking there. Pierre's already asking me to be Prime Minister of Canada. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Some other people are already saying that I'm going to have his. I see you, noise FOMO or mofo. Excuse me. I saw that too. Anyways, before I get into all this nonsense, Colt, how you been doing, brother? I'm doing great. How are you, man? How's your week going so far?
I'm all right. It's been dicey here and there. The news has been kind of up and down and people upset, but I wanted to take the moment for everybody to help me celebrate. You've been with the show for a year now, and I can't believe, I just can't believe it's been this long.
Longer. It's been 14 months, actually.
It's been a little while.
February.
Yeah.
It's been a long
but
time.
The union had me remove a couple times that you weren't able to be there, and the times that I wasn't able to do the show. You bring the math around, you use the metric system, and you've been here with the show for a year. And I wanted to say, I love doing the show with you. I'm glad you're here. And I don't know how you put up with it all, but congrats.
Great,
bro.
man. No, thank you very much. And thank you for, obviously inviting me to the show and everything else. And the chat, for the most part, being very welcome, except for Pierre. But everybody's being... Don't bring up the Drake situation. Listen, let me tell you guys something about this whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar situation. If I want, and of course, Rick Ross has to stick his fat head into the situation and start mouthing off. Let me tell you something. If I wanted to watch a show with a bunch of bad actors, I'll just watch a Disney show, okay? Call me when it's Eminem versus Method Man. When I want to see some real hip-hop, then you can wake me up, okay? This beef that's going on, they all suck, all right? Rosie! All right, Colt, carry on.
I the whole thing with Drake and Kendrick Lamar, like, I don't think I've ever, in my whole entire life, ever listened to an entire full Drake song. And I know there's probably fans out there that have liked his music in and around at the time, but when I hear someone like, call me on your phone, I'm like, yep, done. There's so much rap that is so amazing, and there's so many rap artists who I've like grown up with, and when I hear that, I'm like, no, that ain't it. So it's not for me.
Like I said, you want to see like some real lyricists, put Method Man and Eminem. They would never beef with each other anyway because they're friends. Crack Rats, I see what you say. He says Mag using his kids for gamer score. It's not my fault that they're playing Crocodile Detective or whatever the hell that stupid game is on Game Pass. I can't help it. And then I keep telling them, I'm like, guys, use your profile, please. And you know the thing is, when I go to Netflix or my Amazon Prime or any of my other guys, they keep going to my account, so my algorithms change, right? All of a sudden, I'm getting I watch a lot of horror shows and movies and stuff like that. You know, Wilmy Hood and I always we have an affinity for horror and whatever else, right? So I go in there, and all of a sudden, my algorithm is full of kids shows, and I'm like, where did all my stuff go? And it's because the kids are doing that. So now they're doing it to my Game Pass as well, because now I'm back on Game Pass. And so all right.
Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome, Philip. You're welcome, Philip. I know you're listening out there. I'm sure his mom calls him Philip when he's in trouble. Philip Spencer. Philip Spencer, you get in this house right now.
Philly cheesesteak Spencer, what have you done?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see.
Is that dirt on your pants again, Philip? To your room. Anyways, back on Game Pass, and they keep going to my account, and I'm like, guys, you have your own. But they just, I guess I have to switch. Maybe I have to switch in the auto login, whatever, on that other console, the Series S. So whenever it logs in, it goes on to mine. They're supposed to switch. Anyway, I'll fix those settings. So I'll take care of that. Okay. So yeah, thank you, Crack Rats, for making me go off on a tangent. But anyways, So what do you want to talk about tonight, buddy?
Well, I got a lot to talk about. I'm kind of trying some different things on the overlay to try and keep supers up on the overlay if possible. I'm afraid if I hit a button, it'll go crazy, but I wanted to start off, instead of talking about what we've been playing, I I thought it would be fun to talk just a little bit about breaking news that Timdog has switched to PlayStation. And before I give you the reins, I give you free reign on this, I thought maybe I would just kind of give my 2 cents about what's going on with Tim, because it's interesting. He's a really close friend of mine, and people are like, I'm really concerned for his well-being. But I talked to Tim enough to know he's just kind of like, he's in the car, like talking to Colt. It's cool, Colt. Don't worry about it, Colt. And he's like running over kittens and stuff, just not paying attention. He's not stressed. He's not like going on some crazy pilgrimage. But one thing I do know about people that are like in Timdog's personality scene, they tend to take the WWE approach or the sports team approach, where they're like, I'm done with this team. I'm moving over to the other team. I can no longer have anything to do with them. I'm no longer wearing the purple merch. I'm gonna wear the green merch or the yellow merch, whatever. So like for him, it's like no more green. It's all about the blue now. He says, I'm all in. He bought the PSVR 2. He got his PS5 like up, and he's gonna start experiencing these games. And I told Tim, I'm like, hey man, over the past decade, you've missed out on a couple really great games that I think no one should miss, like Ghost of Tsushima or Spider-Man or not your favorite. No, not the Last of Us 2.
You're not going to say the greatest game ever made, Last of Us 2? Thanks, Colt. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was pointing this way. Yeah. But you know, there's a couple bangers that I think everybody needs to play, whether you're on PlayStation or Xbox. But for him, I think he's jumping all in on the scene. But it really bothers me a little bit, and kind of bothers people that he's, how do you say, he's that he's so absolute, right? That he's going to say that instead of just bashing Xbox, he's just going to be all in. He's going to be celebrating PlayStation to the nines. He's going to be talking about his experience on PlayStation over and over and how they're so much better. And then, it's been kind of a messy situation. What do you think as you look from afar, Mag, about our good friend Timdog?
I'm not looking from afar. I speak to Tim. And I just did a show with him last week on Crossfire. And funny, it's when it comes to criticisms, and I know some people have called me many names over the last 4 or 5 months, or maybe even longer. But certainly over the last 4 or 5 months, as I've been extra critical of the way I feel Xbox has been doing their business. Not about going third party and stuff. I don't really care about that. That actually is not a criticism at all to me. That actually is just, hey man, if that's your business direction, go for it. I don't care about that. Just give me I told you what my mantra is. Give me quality games. I don't care if you put them on the Soulja Boy console. Go ahead. But the point is, which of course I have 2 of them. But anyways,
and the KFC console.
And the KFC console. I mean, you know, you got to have fried chicken and games. So the thing is, when it comes to what anybody wants to do as a consumer, go right ahead. You know what I mean? If you want to just ditch whatever, go ahead, go to the other side. Fine, do that. And I think what's happening is that I think it's a little bit over exaggerated from his part. I think is because, from what I understand, he never played those games on the PS4 era and going into the PS5. So this is all new. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? That's kind of like walking into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory for the first time. You're like, what the crap is all that? You can eat those giant mushrooms or whatever, right? And so it's a little bit wild in that respect. Whereas I think like people like you and I, and I would imagine people in the chat, not everybody, but the majority of people would have at some point have the other console. Like for example, a PS4. I didn't have a PS4 at the beginning of the generation. I didn't get it until year 4 or 5.
Yeah, same, we both did. What year did you get yours? Mine was 2018.
I think it was around. Well, what year did God of War and Spider-Man come out?
That was it. Yeah, we both bought ours the same year.
It was the winter of 2018.
They call you a pony.
Yeah, of course they call me a pony. And 2018 into 2019 is when I got the PS4. So I missed borderline 5.5, almost 6, well, let's say 5.5 years of that generation. However, I played catch up and I played all those games, whatever else. Yeah, because it came out 2013.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it was 4 plus years.
So basically it was year 5 that you and I bought into that console. Now, a little different with the PS5. The PS5, My circumstances were different. Money was more available, whatever else. And I bought everything on day one.
Same.
And so I got them and I played them all. Now, the thing is, as a result of that, I haven't missed anything along the way. So I guess my reactions to certain games aren't so exaggerated because like when the console launched in 2020, both of them, I was playing multiplats on, my Series X to start. And then I was playing other games and I was playing, the one or two couple of launch titles that the PS5 had, what the hell's that?
Astrobot. We were playing Astrobot. We were playing
Astro's
Sackboy, which
Playroom.
Sackboy's great. We were playing
Souls.
Miles Morales.
Demon Souls, Miles Morales. I was playing those games like day one. So for me, there wasn't like a culture shock of catching up on like 15 to 20 games or just the ecosystem in general, right? So I think we have a more measured, what I'm getting at is I think we have a more measured reaction to when things happen because we're experiencing in real time as opposed to like, here's the dump truck and like you get overwhelmed by all this new stuff, so to speak. I mean,
or we're not, you don't feel like you're locked off or kind of hidden away from other experiences, right?
No, not at all. And like in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be playing Hellblade, right? But right now I'm still playing Helldivers on PlayStation. And then in a couple of weeks. Yeah, go ahead.
And then what? After
and then after with Helldivers, then I'm doing a couple of other solo, romps. Not Crocodile Detective, guys. That's my kids. But in a few weeks, I'll be playing Hellblade. And then when I'm done Hellblade, I'll probably jump back over to PlayStation and play something else, right?
Well, I mean,
it is what it is.
It's not extremely expensive to own two consoles, but it can be. It's tough to say because really you can get a used console for $400 or $500, or you can buy one brand new for $500 or $400, whatever, right? But the thing about Tim is he's literally going to jump to PlayStation. Now, my joke is, I am Xbox, right? I play almost everything on Xbox. I occasionally jump to PC if something can't be done on Xbox, and then I play the exclusives on PlayStation from time to time. Like that's just the thing. If I was going to switch to PlayStation, it would be switching over to HDMI 2. That's just like my joke, because that's really, if you're lucky enough to have a second console.
Oh yeah, I did see you put that tweet up.
You could do that, and you don't have to be an absolute where you burn the bridge over here and say, now I'm only on Team Blue. I think that's asinine because I love Tim a lot, and I don't think he's being unreasonable. I think it's kind of foolish for him to sit here when he said, I'm going to wait a year. And instead of waiting 2 months to play Hellblade, which is what he told me last month, he's now going to wait a year and wait till it comes on PlayStation, which is a big discussion we're going to have today. We're going to dive into some of the things that Jez Corden said on his public forum, on Discord with his Patreon people. And we're going to dive into what all that means. But Tim's literally going to jump away from Xbox, banish that console when we're about to have the showcase in half a month. And
it's fine though. That's he's going to live his own life and do what he wants to do. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's like, you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm doing what I'm doing. The chat's doing what they're doing. Pierre is doing whatever he's doing, which is obviously very scummy behavior somewhere in Quebec. And so, he's doing what he's doing, and we all going to do what we want to do at the end of the day, right? So, if he wants to go do it, go do it. And like I said, as long as you're not hurting somebody, everybody has the freedom to do what they like. That's always been my motto. Yeah. So, like I said, I did the show with Tim last week on Crossfire, and we talked about a couple of things, a lot of agreements, couple disagreements.
I wish I would have listened to that. Dang it! Sorry.
And it just is what it is. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of points that I agree with, and like I said, I am more critical now than I've ever been with Xbox. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop playing Xbox. It's just that I'm more critical of it because I feel that some of the, their messaging, I'm not going to get into it, but their messaging and the way that their leadership and stuff is not communicating with the customers, what I'm getting at. And and that doesn't leave me frustrated. I'm just pointing out what I see.
Well, communication with the customer is another theme we're going to talk about today as well.
We're going to talk about, these are all things that need to be discussed. And so anyways, he's going to do whatever he's going to do. And that's that. And, let's see how things go.
Can I be just a bit rude? Yes, I'm going to. The funny thing about Tim is he says he's going to jump full PlayStation. He is literally jumping to PlayStation when they have nothing new coming out for the next year, big from their first party studios. You know, they have Death Stranding 2 and an Astrobot game at the end of the year, right? But he's waited all this time for Xbox to finally deliver on those 2018 acquisitions. And that showcase, I would make the assumption that Tim's going to watch that showcase on June 9th and go, oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a lot of good stuff. And
but he also has a lot of catching up to do. Maybe by the time he gets through those catalogs, who the hell knows?
Right.
I mean, and also think about 2024. Like if I look at 2024 so far, if you want to start counting apples and oranges here, Xbox has released nothing since in 2024, and PlayStation's released 4 games. Well, whether they are first party or they're exclusive.
Yeah, they've had 4. They've had 4 exclusives. Yeah, and I would venture that Xbox hasn't had anything over 2 years besides Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield and Forza.
Right.
I mean, because
it's a back and forth, man. It's never good.
You always say that. I love it.
No one's ever going to win.
It's always
no one's ever like right now. I mean, you could say whatever. The whole Helldivers thing. Okay, that's sort of sorted itself out in a way. But like if you look at that, like you look at the first half of this year, nothing. I mean, there's Hellblade coming out at the end of this month, so that's 5 months in 2024 with nothing up until this point.
And it's worse.
Then the second half. Well, and then the second half of the season, we'll call it season.
Sure.
The second half of the Xbox season is looking a hell of a lot more promising, right? You've got minimum 3 titles that we know of. We got Avowed, we got Call of Duty, and you've got Indiana Jones, right?
And then
the second half,
Avowed, Call of Duty. Yeah, I guess
Indiana
Hellblade
Jones
is included in the first half. Yeah, and Indiana Jones.
I'm counting that in the first half, and then like
yeah.
You know what I count as like the like if you want to look at this in the sports. The sports world, I look at the showcase is kind of like the All-Star game. So it's like the halfway point of the season. You know what I mean? So it's like the All-Star game is like the June showcase, and then the second half of the season goes there. And then October, November, December to me is the playoffs. That's when all the big titles come out, right? That's the playoffs. That's the conference finals.
Season.
And then the Super Bowl or the World Series or the Stanley Cup is like always in that range there, right? So if you want to look at the second half of the season, sure. Then Microsoft's got 3 big titles going. We don't know what the hell Sony's got going on. Well, okay, Death Stranding and another Astro.
And an Astrobot game. And maybe Concord.
Oh, and maybe Silent Hill too. We don't know yet. When they do a showcase, right? So,
we'll know.
But we're not 100% sure. So yeah, Xbox is looking better the second half. Sure, maybe it's not a great idea. I'm not going to disagree with you. It's probably a much better idea to kind of like keep your options open because you don't want to miss out like what if Indiana Jones is an absolute banger?
Yeah, I freaking hope it is. Yeah.
Like what if it's an absolute banger that can't be missed? I'd be pretty pissed if I had gotten rid of every single, Xbox in my house and went, oh crap.
Right? I know Tim hasn't done that. Tim hasn't gotten rid of his Xbox stuff, and anybody who does that, when you pay $400 or $500 for a console and then you go, I'm done, and you go take it to GameStop and trade it in, like Red Wolf's in the chat. We have a mutual friend who did that, and I'm like, smack my 5 head. Because, like you're wasting your money.
Well, again, that boils down to what if, right? And I mean, ignore Call of Duty because Call of Duty's everywhere. But if you look at, let's just say Indiana Jones is an absolute 10 out of 10 banger. It is what it is. It cannot be missed. I'd be pretty pissed, Colt.
If it's a high 80s, it just needs to be above an 86, right? And then it's like you probably don't want to miss Indiana Jones. Right. Yeah, but go ahead.
Imagine if I got rid of all my Xbox consoles. That's the only access I have to Xbox. I don't play on PC. So that's my only access to their ecosystem. So yeah, I'm like, imagine if I had done that, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap. And then what am I gonna do? Call my neighbor? Hey, dude, can I borrow your Xbox for 4 days? Yeah. You know what I mean? Can I borrow your Xbox for like 4 days? I just want to bank. I want to just.
You're calling up like an HDMI cable. Can I take this over to my house? Can you hang it over your fence?
Actually, you know what? That did happen during the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era, where someone had gotten rid of their PS4 and sold it and ended up getting a Switch. And then God of War came out and then asked me if he could borrow it. So I let him borrow it for 2 weeks so he could play God of War and finish it. And then he gave it back to me. So it does happen, but I don't want to be put in that situation for 2 reasons. One, I'm a consumer at the end of the day where I'm interested in everything that's quality. And the second reason is we do these shows. You know, we are social media people. We are somewhat influencers. We are YouTubers. We're whatever.
Got to be a little
And
bit
you
in the
gotta
know.
be in the know. And I'd like to have my hands on everything. I even bought Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I wanted to throw that thing out the window, but like, I bought it anyway.
You and I are like,
God, that game sucked. I mean, it was running at a blazing 8 frames per second.
I'm sure it's amazing, but it just, I should call it bored to the Tears to the Kingdom for us, because I just couldn't find the joy in it. Hey, if you guys are here watching the show, we're not here just to talk about Tim. I love how Mags helped me fold it into some of the stuff with Showcase that we're talking about. We've got a really good show today. We're going to talk about PlayStation bending the knee. It's not as bad as you think it is, but it's a really good look into what the future is going to hold for everybody. We'll dive into that a little bit today. I've got an update on Contraband. Now, Meg's got somebody he's been talking to about Contraband previously, but I got insight that I'm going to share on the show about the game, which will be pretty cool. So keep your ears perked up if you think that'll be something you're interested in. Also, we're going to talk about Jez Corden and where his opinion stands on PlayStation games or Xbox games being on the PlayStation, and why he says the things he does. What else do I got? We've got, we'll cover a little bit about Starfield and talk about the showcase and Hellblade. So we've got a great show for you. We're really glad you're here. I'm going to catch up on a couple of these supers that are rolling in. Let's see if I can get this. If I hit this refresh button, let me make sure everything's still good. Look at me. I can run a show without breaking it. I'm going to go through these supers and we'll just dive right into the show here. Let's see. We've got May 6th. Okay, it tells me. We've got Chris. Thank you so much for the super. Says a year. A year with Mag. Are you going to make him sign up for an X&C account? Yeah.
No.
We will get into that, but no, he did not sign a contract. He can leave right now, and I can't do anything about it. I'll be stuck here like,
I am leaving right now.
Yeah.
See you later.
No. We've got Matt Houston. Thank you so much for always being here every week. Thank you so much for the Canadian $10 super. Matt says, like, subscribe, and share out the best, or the fourth best, as we call it, right, Meg? The fourth best Xbox podcast out there.
Well, I ranked us up to the second best because, we're number 2.
Are we above Xbox 2 with Randall, Thor, and Jez? That's like the.
They're like 9 or 10th. Yeah, there's somewhere. Now, I would venture to say that in terms of Xbox podcasts or Xbox centric podcasts, I would say that I would put, as you know, being as humble as humanly possible, I would say that I'd put us, the Xbox 2, and that one with what's his face from IGN there. That's about it.
The one with what's his face from IGN.
Oh, Unlocked, IGN Unlocked or whatever it is. Is that the one?
Brian
Unlocked?
McCaffrey.
Yeah, that's it. Brian McCaffrey.
What's his face? Much respect for our boy. What's his face? He's only like one of the most prominent guys in the industry, but
and then of course Boom, and that's who else is, and the ILP. Hey. Well, ILP, I'm not allowed to say that ILP is really Xbox centric because really they're not. But they can lean that way because of King. By the way, speaking of King, I had Big Fat Eli reach out to me in a DM news saying that there's a movement here trying to get King David off to LA, crowdfunding to get him to LA for the we'll call it the either Games Showcase or E3 Showcase, whatever the hell you want to call it anymore. We'll just call it the June Showcase.
We're gonna call it the X3.
Trying to get him out there. So go look into that. Go see what. Yeah, there's something going on. So go to the Iron Lords, see what's going on, see how you can help get King David off to LA.
$1 can get this man to the showcase. I didn't know about that. I'm going to check that out after the show.
Check it out. And then we also going to have to put a little extra money in there for security to help King David against all the fentanyl zombies walking around on Hollywood Boulevard. So, maybe we can get him a sword and shield or something from Avowed. Maybe some like official gear from Xbox, like an Avowed shield and a sword, and maybe he could fight off all the fentanyl zombies walking around LA. So we could do that so he can battle his way to the June showcase. But anyways, that is a thing. So look into that.
I did not know that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shout out to the Iron Lords, who are probably the #1 gaming podcast in the circuit. Probably, they're the greatest entertainers, and there's definitely something to aspire to if you like talking about gaming.
Vic Loki, what happened to Dealer? I took him out.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me get my bearings here. Where's the chat? I often have to do this. I thought about actually putting out a full tweet, but and I've said this a couple shows. I'll just say it again. Hey, dealer's doing great. He called Fonz the other day. He texted me a week ago. All I can tell you, because he hasn't really said anything other than, trust me, things are great. I'm getting back into the love of gaming, playing a bunch more games, because he was playing a lot of NBA 2K, and he had missed out on, he went back and played a bunch of the bangers that we all played over the past year or so. So yeah, he's doing great. And
well, I allowed him a cell phone for 10 minutes a day. So
that's funny.
So
there are rumors that he's like locked away somewhere, but yeah, he moved across the state. And when he moved, like, it put everything in disarray, and he said he'll be back. He's like taking a break and stuff. So he's doing well. People are really worried about him, but
he's in the next room.
Yeah, he's like
what other state? He's in he's in the next room. I could hear Abdel 118. I did mention Boom, my friend. Yeah, because he said Mr. Boomstick, primetime gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL. Yes. No,
hey,
dealer's right there. So I give him the phone 10 minutes a day. That's it. He's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
He's got a carved soap cell phone. Hargeet Johnny just texted me and said that the King thing is all sorted. The King funding thing is all set. He got funded during the Sunday show, so he's already earned the money to go. So from what you said, if you could still donate a little bit for the fentanyl zombies, for him to have a little spending money. So
we need a little extra. No. He'll have money for that. He needs protection against the fentanyl zombies. Yeah. So we're gonna have to get him a sword and shield. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
Also known as Greg Miller, right? Yeah. Our boy Greg Miller. Greg Miller's cracking me up, making fun of the PC guys. We'll talk about that as well.
Man.
Yeah, I have the Sun right here. I hope it doesn't bother you, but I thought it's you wait like the whole year when I do the show at 5 o'clock at night, where the sun's actually still up in the sky. So yeah, thank you for you guys. I'm watching the chat too. You guys are cracking me up. All right, I was gonna read those supers, and then we got to get into this stuff. Let me get where is that? It's right here. Okay, we got Zave Steeder. Thank you so much for the Australian AUD. Yeah, Australian dollar super chat. Thanks for just sending the donation. Appreciate it. Matthew Barrios, also known as Decatron, says with a $5 super. Thanks, Matthew. Says, do you think Hellblade 2 will be their biggest release of the year or something bigger in the holidays? Can Mag do something to help the Blue Jays? Well, I'll tackle that first half.
All right. Go ahead. First half, yeah.
I don't know how big Hellblade's going to be. I think it's going to score really well, and it's going to blow people's faces off with how it looks. We'll talk about that later in the show. But I think Mag's right. I think Indiana Jones is going to be their big blockbuster game. So
I think that's going to be not a better game. I think that's going to reach more people, is Indiana Jones, because of the name, obviously. Hellblade is more for the hardcore gamer that knows that played the first one. Although it is going to attract some PlayStation players too, because let's not forget, Hellblade was a PlayStation exclusive for a while.
A year, yeah,
a timed exclusive. So PlayStation players got to play it, and a lot of them really enjoyed it, and a lot of them are waiting to play this, not waiting for it to go to PlayStation. They're actually waiting for this one, and they're actually jumped into the Xbox ecosystem to play it. That's a great move, right?
Yeah, and they all have killer PCs, so they can play it on PC. Well, they just don't want to make a PSN account.
Yeah, some of them. Like, for example, like I know some people like crap all over the guy, but like Reforge Gaming and stuff. Like he's really looking. It's actually Hellblade is one of his favorite games of all time, and he talks about it all the time. He's gonna be playing it on Xbox. He's playing it on PC. But it doesn't matter. The point is, you got people going into that ecosystem to play a game. So I think it's gonna do very well. I think it's gonna get a lot of critical acclaim. But I think Indiana Jones, because of the name and because of the pop culture reference, I think is going to reach more people. And let's also not forget, it's going into the winter time, like December holiday season. People are going to be taking time off. There's going to be a lot more free time around that holiday season, like December. And I think a lot of people will be playing that game. I think that the metrics for Indiana Jones will be higher than Hellblade. As for the Blue Jays, I don't know, man. They got to wake up Don Mattingly there, the batting coach. They got to get some.
Don Mattingly's their batting coach?
Yes, man. He's our batting coach.
Okay,
and he's
sorry,
he's still rocking the same. He's still rocking the same mustache. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Is he really? He still has the. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. That's big time baseball talk from Mag and I.
Yeah. But they need to get those bats going, man. That's what it is. The pitching's doing just fine. They need to get those bats going. Anyways. Carry on.
Okay. Let me make sure I haven't messed up the overlay. Looks like everything's okay. Okay. Don Mattingly, what a blast from the past. We got Sith Lord who says, thank you for the $2 super. He says, Mag Colt, the time has come to execute Order 66. A lot of Xbox fans are asking for Microsoft to reverse their idea to go more multi-platform, more third-party. We'll get into that. I don't think it's going to happen. Red Wolf, thank you so much for the $7 super chat. He says, no! I fixed my super chat lock. I spent the whole day on party chat. I think it was Saturday with Red, like hanging out and playing games. And he does this impression of Special Nick from Xbox era when he yells no really loud. And I can't do it right, but it's like, no! That's the accent. And he was cracking me up. It never got old. We got Trick for Trey. Thank you so much for the $5 super. Says, if it wasn't for Final Fantasy VII's exclusivity and a handful of exclusives, I'd never have a PS5 because I hate the controller. I have FOMO. That's why I can't wait for PC. I mean, you already have the PS5, but I mean, they're going PC. And I like the controller. I don't have a problem with it.
Actually, you know, it's funny. The DualSense 5 is my favorite controller. Like the Xbox 360 for me was my favorite Xbox controller because I thought it was a nice mixture of the Duke and it was like a downsized version of the Duke, but not as small as like when we got into the Xbox One and Series console era. And they seem to have shrunk a little bit too much, like just a little bit too much, where they almost went like the PS3 era. Remember the PS3 era? That stupid thing. That stupid thing was like those like little tiny Nokia phones that they made fun of and like that. Anyways, whatever. It was just silly.
That was so bad. That PS3 controller is so bad that the first party exclusives had you use the bumper or the shoulder buttons as shooting triggers.
Dude,
they didn't even want you using the triggers. That's how bad that controller was.
The worst controller of all time is the N64. That thing, I don't know what the hell that monstrosity was with like the threes, with like the upside down trident spikes and the stupid.
The stick.
Like, what the hell were they thinking?
If you're a Gen X or Gen Y person in the chat and you know what he's talking about with the N64 controller, and if you've been to a Best Buy or a Mega Store where they have the demos on the floor for the consoles, you would always go in and see that N64, and it would just be a little plastic nub that would like cut through your thumb because those would just break. Those people would break those as they were demoing.
And like even like the Switch controllers, when when you pull them off the thing, and like they look like I could stick them up my nostrils. They're so small.
No,
and
I thought you were gonna say something else, and I thought
no,
far off.
No, we're not doing that either. We're not going down that road. And I'm playing with these stupid little sticks, and I'm going, what the hell is this crap? And but anyways, the Xbox Series. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I need like a microscope in front of me so I can see the buttons.
You're wearing a monocle. Tears of the Kingdom.
I look like the peanut guy with the stupid monocle trying to like look at my controller. DualSense 5.
Why does he wear tights? By the way, peanut guy.
Because he's very distinguished peanut.
I'll remember that when I see you in tights sometime.
Oh, I can send you pictures. I mean, it's $5 on OnlyFans. You know.
Let me the Xbox pop. I got a couple more here that I want to get into news. We got JC, thank you so much for the $2. Says, where the heck is Hellblade's marketing? Well, he says, well, no, where the hell is Hellblade 2's marketing? Well, it's coming next week. Aaron Greenberg was like, hey, we're doing a big marketing push for Hellblade. And I was talking to Hargy. He's like, did you hear they're doing a marketing push? I go, oh, what are they going to do? Tweet out a bunch of stuff. He goes, no, they have like a whole plan. And I'm like, really?
Aren't they also releasing like I think I saw something when Aaron was talking about they're going to release like a picture a day or something for the entire month.
And they're doing some integration with movie trailers at the theater. Like they're actually going all out. But my problem with JC, like where I'm in line with JC is like, why are you waiting until 2 weeks or 3 weeks for the game? Like, here's what I want to ask you, Mag. When a big TV show is coming up or a big movie, when do they start marketing it?
Well, I mean, like for example, we got The Boys season 4 coming up, right? Okay. And I shall be watching that this month sometime, about a month before the release. So I'm gonna sit down with some people and watch that show. But the first, I'm not gonna talk to him. I'll let you know if it's like yeah. Anyways, the first trailer was about 8 months ago. That gets people's appetite, wet for it, and you're like, all right, here we go. And then they released another story trailer just 2 days ago or 3 days ago, right?
Okay.
And so now we understand. Now we know exactly what's about to happen, and that's about approximately 5 weeks before release of the show. However, they've been doing the trailers and everything up to this point has been good, but when you want to start doing a hard marketing push, I think your best bet is 6 to 8 weeks before the launch of the product is when you really want to do it. Now,
And Xbox is doing like 3 weeks.
3 weeks is a little bit too short. That's a little bit too short. I think my guess is that because they're a corporate structure, don't think that because they're worth $3 trillion, they got $3 trillion lying around. That's not how it works. I think their marketing budget was kind of, they got to keep it under control. They're like, listen, you're getting X amount of dollars. We're not going to give you infinite amount of dollars to do this. So they have a budget to follow. So therefore, it costs a ton. Oh, I was about to swear. It costs a ton of money to do advertising.
Yeah.
I mean, most of it is like false inflation, but still, it costs a lot of money to do advertising. Like movies, for example, and TV shows, they'll spend $100 to $120 million in advertising just for a film. So if a film has a $200 million budget, in fact, the budget's closer to $320 million when you add an advertisement, right? So maybe Microsoft's going to keep it a little bit smaller, maybe to try to, work it in organically, throw it into YouTube videos, like, as intros to YouTube videos if you don't have premium. Things of that nature. I could see that, especially you want to flood. Pringles cans. I think you want to flood gaming-centric channels with advertisements and things of that sort. Twitter would be another place to start advertising properly.
I made merch on my Teespring. I think I still have them up. I made merch for Hellblade when it got its first trailer, and then it never really went anywhere because the game was so far out, but I made this merch that was like Senua's mental health treatment facility, and it looked like a logo for like a place that you check into because the theme of the game is about dealing with the mental and emotional problems that she goes through, and I thought I had this idea to make some themed gear that was like like if you're gonna do a Gears thing, you'd like it chainsaw Lancer motor oil, but something like that.
That'd be hilarious. Wade Broadbent, what consoles do you own? I own them all.
Yeah.
Like everything. So, and that goes back for like 4 decades plus an entire 80s arcade.
Let me hold on a couple supers here and let's get into the news. I want to talk about, I want to make this brief because this was a super hot subject over the weekend and it really ended last night when PlayStation decided to reverse their requirement to have a PSN account for over 170 countries on this planet Earth where we live that do not have access to PSN. So what happened was Helldivers is one of the best-selling games of 2024. It is very highly rated, like an 86 on OpenCritic or 83 on OpenCritic and 86 on Steam. It dropped all the way down to, I think, 32% overall with an 18% of recent review bombing with 250,000, this is off the top of my head, 250,000 recent review bombs, Mag, that went over from, I would say, Saturday and Sunday, or maybe it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It got inundated with 250,000 reviews, dropping it down because it's this on Steam. It's you recommend it or not. So it's very binary off or on. The game is one of the lowest rated games, and now it's climbing up into the 30s, and it will continue to climb as they reversed it. I don't have a lot to say at this point because it's kind of like beating a dead horse at this point. But what's your opinion on that?
Well, it's now been resolved, but
Sure.
I don't agree with the review bombing stuff. Now, I understand it's a little bit convoluted because, just like you said, it's very vague, right? It's just a thumbs up or thumbs down. It doesn't give you like the nuances of, well, I'm pissed off because of X, Y, and Z, or I'm happy because of A, B, and C. It doesn't give you that option, right? It gives you the up or down. Now, the thing is, for some people that I understand that the people are looking for solidarity and of course support for the gamers and everything else, especially the PC community. That's fine to do that, but I think that at this point, if they've done that, reverse that. If they've done and reversed it, then remove your negative score, put your regular score back on there because that's not reflective of the game itself. Right?
Yeah.
That's not fair to the people who made that game, who worked on that game, spent thousands of hours making it. That's not fair to them because
it's also not their choice. It was definitely coming from PlayStation and Sony.
Sure. And
Yeah.
but now that whole situation, to get into that, I'll be very brief. At first glance, this is going to go into like three different directions here, and just hear me out. The first direction was when I looked at it and I heard about it, and I said, okay, well, what the hell's the big deal? I just had two guys talk to me, actually complaining to me like a week ago, saying, well, they played Grounded on PC. They had to sign up a Microsoft account to do so. So
Yeah.
I'm like, so what the hell's the big deal? So at first, just hear me out. At first, I was like, what the hell's the big deal? Ubisoft does it, Microsoft does it, Activision does it, everybody does it. I'm like, so what's the problem? And then I heard the second half of it. And that's where I'm like, And that's where I'm like, okay, well, that's not cool. Because then what ended up happening is, of course, we all know the story, is that they've had prior knowledge of this for about 6 months, that this was the plan going forward. So what they have done is that they moved forward. They sold the game at the countries where that did not have access to the PlayStation Network. And then we're going to implement that after they had already sold the game to people and have taken their money, essentially bricking the game in a way. Now, I don't think the reason why I think that Sony took so long to reverse it. I mean, you remember the fiasco a couple of years ago with the Microsoft and the Xbox Live thing. I mean, they practically reversed it.
Doubling the price.
Yeah, because we all know why. They were trying to push people into Game Pass in order to bolster Game Pass sales because Game Pass numbers were slumping. And so they needed to get those numbers up in order to entice more investors. What I was seeing on the PlayStation side of things is that they were doing the exact same thing. They're like, oh, it's for your safety. No, it's not. They're trying to bolster their engagement numbers so that everybody playing on the PSN network or whatever would have to abide by their not their rules. Okay, that's the first thing. And their policies, Sony's rules and Sony's policies. And the second thing is it bolsters their engagement for what? For their investors. So it looks like, see, guys, there's a jump of 10 million people, 50 million people into the PlayStation ecosystem, so it makes your numbers look better.
Users. Yeah.
Right. So they did it for their own, they did it to increase their market value. I get that too. But here's the other problem. The problem is now you bricked that game for a bunch of people in countries that don't have access to the PlayStation Network. Well, now you're working into a situation where that becomes a legality. Okay? Because the countries without, and again, they had the prior knowledge. So essentially what you've been doing is that you're selling a product under false pretenses.
Sure.
Because you damn well knew that this was going to be the policy after the fact. I mean, and by the time this got implemented, which is May 30th, you're talking 4 months after release. With prior knowledge of that you could take to court. You can sue for that, and that becomes a legal battle. Because again, you're selling a product under false pretenses. Yeah. That is punishable by international law. Never mind American, Canadian, Australian, whatever. International law. Selling a product under false pretense, or Turkish prison,
right?
Or the gulag.
The gulag.
By doing that,
gulag.
Yeah.
Well,
Baba Ganoush. That is the problem. Sorry, Baba Ganoush. I love Baba Ganoush.
That's such a great word to say. I love it. How can you not be happy when you say Baba Ganoush
So now that they got painted into a corner and they're like, oh crap. Now the Sony's corporate lawyers coming out and they're like, guys, we got a serious problem here. Then they could pull out that law and say, guys, you cannot sell a product under false pretenses with prior knowledge.
Yeah.
Because then that is deceptive beyond words. And that being the case, they absolutely had no choice, no matter how pig-headed Sony can be sometimes, all the time. Let's face it. And they could be very set in their ways.
Yeah.
They had no choice but to reverse that or face a bigger, uglier, dirtier battle. And of course, you also want goodwill because at the end of the day, they're going to have Helldivers 3 coming out for PlayStation 6 and PC. They don't want to start off on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
So they got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's I was starting to see like the good and the bad. And I talked to a friend of mine before the show about why PlayStation did this and how they're not evil mustache twirling greedy sons of biscuits. But my problem, Mag, was that most of what I saw over the weekend was console PlayStation fanboys defending, excusing, insulting people for calling this out. Because I've been there where when Xbox does something, I'm like, stop it. Or you need to fix this. This is not right. Do better. And because it's so much easier, I've learned over the past few years, to just say, hey, this isn't right. Do right by your fans and you'll make them happy. And in turn, they'll be more loyal to spend more money on the platform if you're treating your customers properly. So, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's not a big deal. You're making a big deal out of nothing. It's like, if you live in one of these 177 countries, your game was going to go away. You purchased it. It was going to be yanked from you because you can't get a PSN account in your country. So good on them for fixing it. One of the things that my friend was explaining was that PlayStation's just, yes, they want to boost monthly active users. It's like, it's a byproduct of their forceful nature in as being big, big chest, big chest puffed out marketing arm and for gaming. But I can't think of my words I'm thinking right now. But the monthly active users are a byproduct get a good thing out of it. But what they wanted to do is make this cohesive experience. If you're buying a PlayStation first party game or an exclusive that's in the PlayStation ecosystem, they want you to be in PSN for security. They want you to be there so you can get the whole experience and all the things that come with being in the ecosystem. And it could bring a cohesive experience outside the walled garden. That's their words, PlayStation's walled garden, which is normally only on a PlayStation console. And Meg and I could talk about this for another several minutes, but like Meg said, they've reversed it. What were the words you said? They remedied it. I don't know what the word you said, but we can't gloat about it if we're going to gloat.
It's been remedied. But at the end of the day, it's done now. It's over. Corey, no for life. Listen to this guy. He's like, Mag is criticizing Sony. Yes, I criticize Sony. If they do something stupid, I'm going to criticize it. Brian Harris right away. He criticizes everybody who's Canadian. And then some, what's this guy's name? Last? Yeah, Last. Mag, the type to support Drake. I don't care. If you listen to the beginning of the show, Drake, Kendrick Lamar sounds like. No, never mind. I'm not going to say it. I was going to say something really horrible. And then Captain Fatso there. What's his name there? The other idiot, Rose. What's his name? Rick Ross. Yeah, Rick Ross, Kendrick Lamar, and Drake all suck.
I just don't like DJ Khaled. Is that okay if I say that on the air?
What? So I can listen to that guy.
I can't stand him.
So he could scream over every song instead of like listening to the song.
We the best music. Yeah.
And you hear a song that like, I went to the pub. We the best music. I went into the pub. He only been a band. DJ gonna. And I'm like, dude, can you shut the hell up and just put your name on the title? You don't have to scream over the entire song, dude. I'm trying to hear the song.
I came from an era when Master P would just go over every song. So yeah, we fall.
I love Master P. Master P's great. No. Anyways, I'm just joking around. Listen, Kendrick Lamar is actually pretty good. Drake, I'm not really. I like a couple of his songs because they're kind of fun. And then I actually enjoy Rick Ross. I'm just being a jackass. Rick Ross has got some banging tunes, man. There's one song he does with Lil Wayne. It is just, oh my God. That's the kind of song that you like smash through walls like the Kool-Aid guy because like it's so hard. Anyways, no, they're good songs, man. I enjoy them. But this beef thing, you guys realize it's all fake, right? You know they're all friends. It's kind of like Sony and Microsoft. They're friends behind the scenes making money. Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and Rick Ross are sitting there counting cash together.
Oh, probably. Okay?
And they're laughing
Mag's
about it.
Mag's always got the business angle on everything.
Dude, it's all a business. It's all a scam to get people talking about it, and it drums up more business. How people not see this?
Oh.
Anyways, whatever.
Tricks for Trey says I have his name spelled wrong on the ticker. If I see it here, I will change it because I see it now. Welcome to the Rap Newscast with Mag and I. And I was sitting here when you were talking, I was like, maybe I'm too old, but well, he's not even a new rapper. He's been around for 12 years or something, but like Wiz Khalifa, I saw Wiz Khalifa in concert. He was fantastic.
Wiz Khalifa's great.
But he's been around a while though.
I like the new music. I like some of the other stuff. The only one I don't like is that weird guy. I can't remember his name. Anyways, whatever. But no, I listen to all the new stuff too, man. I'm open to it. And actually, some of it's pretty damn good. Some of it, not all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like that Josh guy, whatever the hell his name is. God, that guy's irritating.
Who?
Who? I don't know. His songs have literally 5 words. That's it. Just 5 words.
Oh.
My wife will know the name of it because she likes him.
There is a Tricks. Is it Tricks for Trey?
Tricks R for Trey, I think it is.
There is an R in it?
I think there's an R in it. Dude, hit us up, man. Let us know.
No, I mean, I've got it right here. I just updated it, but I swear that I copied and pasted or whatever. I tried to use my my back spelling. So I don't even know where I was. Let me get back into the news topics. We have derailed. You have derailed, Richard.
It's okay. We're having fun. Matthew Barrios, that was hilarious. He's like, the weird guy. You mean P. Diddy? I was like,
Oh my gosh, what a mess. What a mess.
That was fun. That was funny. Hey, I saw him in concert twice, actually. He was actually really good. But yeah. Anyway, and Busta Rhymes came out unannounced. That blew me away. Anyways, carry on.
Here's a quick one. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it more than a minute, but there's a new update for the new Tomb Raider game. Is supposed to be open world, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider in 2018 was also semi-open world and like these hub areas. But
sure.
I think people are not happy with an open world Tomb Raider game. And I think about Rise being the best, like from 2017, 16, 2016, 2015. Holy smokes, we're old, Mag. That's 9 years old. Rise of the Tomb Raider is my favorite one. And it's not, well, it's got open areas. You know what? I'm just going to say it, and then I'll let you give your opinion. An open world Tomb Raider? Why not? Sure, I'm all in. I'm not that picky.
You know what? I love Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is one of my top 4 or 5 series of all times. Resident Evil is number 1. And Tomb Raider is a very, very close second for me. So I've played them all, obviously. But to me, open world, basically, you're right. Shadow of the Tomb Raider basically was open world.
Yeah.
So,
sort of.
I mean, it had like larger hubs. But yes, when you got to one area, sure. But the thing is, at the end of the day, when you got to one area and moved to the next, it still opened up to another hub. It was basically open world. So, it was what it was. But if they're going to go even more open world sandbox, I'm okay with it as long as it still has the same parkour style mechanics, being able to climb, jump, do all the signature Tomb Raider moves. Those are important. Yes. Sliding on the ropes, doing that, the shooting, everything else. It's got to be that, because it's got to have that Tomb Raider feel. Otherwise, what the hell are we doing? My bigger thing right now is let's make sure that the story is not what we heard it was. I mean, at least the rumors of it. I'm not going to say that's for sure. Let's just hope that it's a great story. That's all. That's really what's important to me at the end of the day. Gameplay mechanics, and the game has to play like Tomb Raider, and then the story has to accompany it and be great. Because that trilogy, that Survivor trilogy, was fantastic. The 2013 reboot, and then the Rise, and then Shadow. Yeah. And Shadow, they call it the Survivor trilogy.
Oh yeah, when you said that, I'm like, Survivor? I've never heard it called that.
Yeah, they call it the Survival trilogy or whatever the hell it was.
Oh, okay.
I adored that series. I adored the stories, the gameplay, the MacGuffins in there. I enjoyed all of it. So you always laugh every time I say MacGuffin.
I love the word. I've tried to use it in a social situation, and it just never works out for me.
Well, unless you're talking about Indy Jones or Tomb Raider or Uncharted, it's going to be pretty tough.
Right. Yeah.
But anyways, I'm looking forward to it no matter what.
No MacGuffin in a rom-com, bro?
No, there's no MacGuffins in rom-coms. Unless, the Ark of the Covenant is in there somewhere. And then everybody's face melts off and we have a good laugh and everybody goes home.
Okay, this next news item, sorry if I just jumped from jump to jump. We got a lot to cover.
Oh,
this is about Contraband. This is a comment I got on my Contraband video I did like 3 months ago. Not a lot of people watched it. I got this comment. It was very long. And by the very nature of it, I deleted it from my channel and screenshot it so that I could just decide if I was going to read this on the air or not, because it's kind of weird. So I'm going to preface this as, let's assume that what I'm about to read to you could be totally made up. Could be somebody saying, hey, I know someone who knows someone. But this comes from someone who has played Contraband. If you want to believe this or not, because you know how people like clip the stuff we say, right? And if you don't give enough like legalese in there, then people come for your.
I'm well aware. I'm well aware of it. But yes, carry on.
This can be hard to read, and I apologize for like having my phone up, but I'll show you how small the font is on it.
Go for it. Come on, man. I'm interested.
I would really wish that would have like focused in all cool like it's supposed to be. So here it is. The person's name was like some random name too. So it's been over 2 years since I was on the project, and so I'm no longer bound by an NDA. I hope, however, I made this account that if I get in trouble, I can throw it all away. So before I read the rest of this, indulge me, audience and chat, and Mag, who's also my fellow leaker and insider guy who likes to hear things that are cool and speculate about them. Let's just kind of indulge this. Let's just take it as What if it's real? And we'll see if there's anything cool in there that sounds believable. All right. So it says, I was one of the first employee QA testers to experience the game, and even in the early stages, it was hella fun. I sound like I'm doing a Casey Kasem. It was hella fun. As my last experience, the vehicles were fully customizable, which is in line with what you said, Mag. You could slap on giant off-road tires on what looked like typical 60s muscle cars. You could also get covered in mud and even stuck. Though my personal favorite was, we're talking about Contraband if you're just joining the show. Contraband is very, very likely to be shown at the showcase next month for the Xbox Showcase. Contraband is being made by Avalanche, a team who makes Just Cause and did Rage 2. Meg has had a little bit of insight into it. He's had like a little sneak peek, and I've covered this game a little bit, so it has potential. I'll go back to what he says here. Though my personal favorite was the Land Rover style vehicle. It could go anywhere really fast and could boost. Plus, at the time, they had a winch. Basically, take all the awesome vehicle driving and customization from Mad Max, put it into the game for the vehicle missions. The island design will be super clean. Excuse me. There was talk about licensed music, but they already had a lot of music that you would expect to hear from the 70s in Southeast Asia. The main story had, so I'll stop there. I think what he's alluding to is there are licensed songs that we would know as Americans, but there'll also be some licensed music that if you're from South Asia area that you're like, oh, that's really cool. Like if you live in, this game takes place like near the Philippines and like a archipelago. Is that the right word, Mag? Like it's somewhere in that location.
Sure. Yes,
okay?
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay. So you can just kind of assume it's somewhere around that part of South Asia. The main story had 4 female protagonists and was the main selling point of the game at the time. So I can confirm that it will be 4-player. Not sure about the 8-player, but we did have an option. We just didn't have enough people to test it out. What I mean was, for the first testers, I'm not joking, the team was only 4 people, a QA lead, a test engineer, and 2 testers. So if you're me, I'm reading this in a long comment on my video. It's very, very specific. So I was entertained by it at the very least. One more paragraph. I just hope that one of my mission stones gets into the game. I did a ton of research on the culture, traditions, and ghost stories for the Southeast Asia. One of them I liked that would make a good mission was about kids being kidnapped by the Buto Ijo. I don't know. Google it. Which is basically like the green ogre. It wouldn't be an actual Buto Ijo, but soldiers or mercenaries dressed in green with camo paint on their faces or gas masks. This would take kids to keep a local village quiet about the drug operation and local valley cave system. The parents would tell stories to the kids about the Buto Ijo to keep them from going into the forest. As a team, you've been asked by local leaders to investigate the incidents and find the kidnapped kids. In return, you get the respect to keep whatever you find. All in all, I look forward to the game. I thought that was really an interesting, long-winded comment where someone just wanted to share their experience. It sounded like they liked what they played. So I don't know, Mag, what do you think about all of that, if it's nonsense or what?
No, it's not nonsense. I've seen the gameplay. I've seen gameplay. So it's pretty much in line with is almost exactly what he said. However, the person that I spoke to that I saw the footage from and everything else, there was 8-player. There was an 8-player mode, or at least it was being tested. I don't know if that's going to make it to the final product. You never know, right? It might not make it. It may not translate well. And they may say, hey, listen, we tried it out. It was okay, but, maybe that's too much. Maybe it's, there's not enough to offer or whatever. So we'll see if that goes on. But I can tell you one thing, absolutely, that the person who was playing the game, and up until a little while ago, said the game is fantastic and said it was a lot of fun.
Okay.
And that pretty much I'm trying to keep it as vague as humanly possible, but I've seen the screenshots, I've seen footage and whatever else of the game, and I've shared it with nobody, obviously, because
and audience, if you're following along, we're talking about Contraband by Avalanche, and about a month or 2 ago we talked about this on the show as kind of those details, and after the show, Mag held up his phone and showed me part of a screenshot, and that was it. I haven't really looked. I haven't asked him to send me any of that stuff.
No. I didn't share any of that info. I
Yeah.
did show some screenshots from my phone, and then I subsequently erased them. But they were legitimate, and you could see that they're legitimate. The location, the place, the cars. There were even ink. What the hell they call that? Ink spots or whatever, water spot. What is it? Water spots so that they could follow it.
Oh,
if someone,
watermarks,
like,
watermarks. Yeah.
watermarks. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Not
to
water
protect
spots.
the
What an
images.
idiot. Yeah, to protect the images. There were watermarks on it for security reasons, which were they were actually funny watermarks, but they were there. And yeah, it basically looked like not so much a Twisted Metal like some people were thinking. It was more like a Dukes of Hazzard meets Mad Max meets Smuggler's Run. True 77 mentioned that in the chat.
Gosh, that sounds good.
Meets a little bit of Far Cry. You know what I mean? Like it was like a little bit of maybe just a sprinkle of Just Cause. Like it's all you could see like all the different elements and all the different of these games, right? All these different elements kind of thrown in there. Not that it's a smorgasbord of all those things. You could just see like where the inspirations came from.
Yeah,
right?
and I think about this, Meg, and I'm wondering, like, is this game only in car? Like, you set up your missions
I don't know
in a virtual, what do they call their home base, and then when you start the mission, you're in the car, and everyone has, I don't know, like if there's on foot stuff, if there's third person shooting or first person shooting, I have no idea.
You know what? I will absolutely bend the knee on the fact that I have no idea about out of car stuff. That was never shown to me. It was never spoken about, just the car stuff. And what I showed you was in car, because you could see you're inside the car with the dashboard and the steering wheel. And of course, in the background, you could see the cop cars chasing you down in that sort of muddy, like it looked like a muddy, like clearing, like in between two forests. And it was pretty wild. But yeah, and apparently it's just a blast to play. Now, we'll see properly, because you and I have seen sort of fractured pieces, or have seen and heard fractured pieces of this. We're not getting a full picture. Right. It's like you were given half a puzzle and I was given half a puzzle, but we're not allowed to collaborate on putting that puzzle together. Right. So you're not going to get that picture until Xbox decides to show it, and they will. And Xbox is going to show it at that June showcase. I'm almost certain of it. And that's where we're going to see what's going on, right? We're going to see what's going on with this game. Maybe we can get a real solid glimpse as to what it is properly from them, and see what kind of game we're dealing with. But from what I've seen, that breakdown is pretty much what. That's pretty much it. That's all I can say about it, because I don't know anything else.
Fonz is calling me.
Oh, Fonz is calling you.
Fonz, what's up? You're live on the air. Do you want to say hi?
I'm live. On
You're live.
Air, huh?
Yeah. What do you have to say for yourself?
I didn't know this. Oh, geez. Wait, you're live?
Yeah.
You're on right? I'm on?
You're on,
Hey,
sir, you're on the air. So, turn your radio down. You're on the air.
How's everybody doing out there? I'm so glad to be live. I'm sorry I didn't realize this. Man, I don't know what to say.
Long time listener, first time caller. Yeah.
Yeah, Max says long time listener, first time caller. Yeah.
Yeah, long time listener, first time caller. It's great to be. Actually, this is my third time caller. Third time calling. Here's what I'll say. I'll say the chat is awesome. You are awesome. Mag is awesome, and that's about it.
Hey,
thanks, Fonz.
Good night.
Wait. Can you tell Mag congrats on sticking with this crappy show for a year?
14 months.
Oh yeah, congrats
Shut
on
up.
being on the worst show out there for Xbox, the biggest shill show ever. Congrats for sticking with it for so long. It's amazing.
All right. Hey, Fonz.
Thanks, buddy.
He says thanks. Let's catch up later tonight. You Disney.
I apologize. I didn't know you were live. I forgot it was Monday.
All right, I'll talk to you later, bro. Then I'm gonna hang up on him. That's Fonz. When he's like, hey, Colt, I better go, and I'm like, before I can say, okay, buddy, I'll talk to you later, he just hangs up every time. He's like one of those cool characters on a TV show. They're like, let me know if you figure out what's going on with the murder case.
He knew we were live. He's just drunk. Anyways, yes, carry on.
Yeah. So shout out to that blue number, Holly, who sends a super sticker with a little working out pair or something. But
outstanding.
Holly, that blue number, did a tour of Xbox studios and Xbox production facilities today. I got a quick update on how that was going, but I can't wait to hear more about the stuff they saw while they were there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Shout out to them, and shout out to Dante, who all sends a $20 super. I've got to get back up on the other ones. He says, "Happy anniversary, Mag." He's like,
Thank you.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys so much. I put a poll in the chat. I'm like, what do you guys want to talk about next? Because there's a lot to talk about. And I think I don't want to harp about third-party stuff, but you guys really want to hear about the showcase. So we'll talk about the showcase right after we talk about Jez. Yeah, it looks like showcase. We'll get to showcase immediately, because this thing about Jez will not be a long discussion. And I appreciate you guys for voting on the poll, even though it's only been up for a minute. So Jez was speaking on his Discord chat with his Patreon that him and Rand are part of, and that he considers that like an open place where he can just talk and give his opinions, because Jez is of the opinion that Xbox is going to put a lot of their games on PlayStation. And if you're watching the market, the economy, I mean, what else is really going to happen? But it was taken as a total news piece, and without checking sources or citing anything, a lot of these vulturist journalists like just ran with it as documented proof, Mag. And I know you followed this, and
yeah, of course.
Part of it's Jez getting himself in a little bit of hot water, because I personally feel like he does a little bit of this to kind of get people to understand what he thinks is going to happen. He talks to people, and he's like, you know what? I would think that Jez is like, I would put my money that more Xbox games are going to come to PlayStation other than less Xbox games coming to PlayStation. And I think if you kind of can explain why and how, that's a discussion to be had with your audience. And I think that's what Jez is doing. Meg, what are your thoughts on this? Was it a mess?
No. I think that at the end of the day, everybody has their thoughts and opinions about that specific situation. But the funny thing is, when we first talked about it in January, we were attacked. Now, he didn't come out and say this is happening. When that thread that was going on there, these were just thoughts. He even said that. He's like, well, it was just we're just talking, having a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't reporting anything. It wasn't like a Windows Central report where he's like sat down and said, this just in, breaking news, blah, 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 is going third party and blah, 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 blah. He didn't say that. He was just having a conversation with somebody, and then it got out. But you know how social media is. Social media takes everything out of context, and immediately everything that you say is the word of God, and that's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, though, it's not far off the mark. You can't, people say this thing. I personally think that whole situation where oh, they're sending out false news to people to see where the leaks are coming from. No, they're not. No, they're not.
I've heard that a lot too.
They do that with certain games when it comes to the security of the game itself, not when it comes to rumors. You think they got like a rumor mill, waiting to go? Like they have a whole division devoted to that? They don't. We know that this stuff is happening, not all of it, but certain games will go over there, whatever. And slowly but surely, just like Stockholm Syndrome, all the people that were losing their effing minds and going crazy and calling me all these names and threatening me and you and all this other stuff, they're slowly coming to terms. It was bad. They're slowly coming to terms with the fact that it's probably going to happen, and it is going to happen. Now, like I said, nothing is concrete. No one's saying yes. No one's saying no. But it's leaning in that direction. So when it does happen, all the things that you and I heard about way back in November and December of 2023 are all going to start slowly but surely coming to fruition. A lot of people keep asking me about the Gears of War collection, whatever. And I've heard actually some updates on that, but I'm not going to report on that because it's going to start another crap storm of nonsense, because I'm just not going to say anything about it. And it's not from a different person. It's from the same person. That I heard back in last November about the other stuff. Now, in regards to Jez, he's said it over and over and he's clarified, unless it's reported in Windows Central as something official, it is just thoughts and opinions.
Okay.
And or you kind of know where things are going, but I mean, just because you think you know where things are going doesn't mean that's concrete. They could change it They could change it if they wanted to. They could say, "Listen, we're not doing this anymore," or whatever.
And
I still think it's happening. It's just not going to be as extensive as a lot of people think, but it's still going to happen in just certain ways. Like just like Phil said, game by game basis. Start with 4, organically grow. They're not backing up a dump truck and saying, "Here you go. Here's all the IPs." Beep, beep, beep. And then there's like what's his name there? Julia Gulia from Sony. Oh, Hiroki Totoki. Yeah, sorry, Hiroki Totoki.
Julia Gulia.
It's the same
and I learned
name.
that's Wedding Singer because the other movie she had a similar name.
Yeah, well, Hiroki Totoki's not sitting there with a net catching all these games. That's not how it's going to work.
He's like hungry on hippos.
Yeah, let's just calm down.
Exactly. I gotta say, okay, I am guilty of this all the time because let's face it, we're old, we've been around, we're seasoned, we feel like we've been on the landscape long enough to kind of make a really good prediction. You can see things come from a mile away. And I have been very guilty of saying, this is what they're going to do. And people are like, Colt, you can't say that because you're stating that like it's facts. And I know that happens a lot where people are like, you always say things like it's facts, you're a liar. And that comes when I make an absolute statement like, oh, yeah, they're not going to stop at 4. Now, Meg said it too, right? They're not going to stop at 4. There's going to be 4 more at the end of the year. And they're not going to be the latest games. They're going to be games that have been around for a year, right? And I could say that thing. Jez has said that thing. But it comes off as a factoid statement or a factual statement because the better thing would be for Jez or I to say, I can really see, or I predict, or I think they are going to have 4 more games at the end of the year. And that's probably the better way to say it. But when you have a sizable audience and you're just like, there's going to be 4 more at the end of the year. And then you just wait. And then they announce 3 or 4, or maybe 5. You're like, see? And it's a little bit of an ego, right? And I'm guilty of it all the time because if I say 100 things over a couple of years, 70 of them are right. And then the 30 that are wrong, it's like,
then you're a liar, you're a cheat, you're this or that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. That's part of the territory, Cole. That's part of the, when you're put out there in the public eye, and you're part of that 24/7. Like I wake up to 200 messages while I'm sleeping. People are asking me stuff, talking to me stuff, tagging me in things, this and that, whatever. You're constantly in the public eye. And as a result of that, you're not going to be loved by everybody. That's for damn sure. And even when you get, you might get 5 things right and 2 things wrong. All they're going to remember is the 2 things wrong, and you're a fraud, and you're this and that, whatever. And then, again, you just have to just brush that off and just be like, listen, man, I predict this, I predict that. That's where I think it's going to go. Or I heard this, I heard that. But you know how the social media works? You're shooting the messenger. That's exactly what they do every single time. They shoot the messenger.
I do get ticked off. Like I take it, like it hits me in the sternum, and I'm like, and then I try to remind myself that there's more to life than some turd nugget who doesn't like my
Don't
prediction.
worry about it.
But I think enough time has passed. Here's a bombshell. If anybody cares, I think enough time has passed that the whole surprise face was a text from Jez. That's all it was. Jez was talking to somebody who I can't even say. It's not fair to say. Jez was talking to somebody before that big business update that was like, it's going to be fine. It's not what you think. And then Jez is like, don't worry about it. And it was Jez. And at this point, like, whatever. And, Jez gets a lot of stuff right. Somebody said that in the chat like 10 minutes ago while Mag was talking, that he's gotten a lot of stuff right. Because, he's talking to people in the know. And I was texting Jez that night on Saturday. Sorry, what did you say, Mag?
No, I was just saying I was just agreeing with you. No, go on.
I was texting Jez, and instead of me like, Jez, why are you doing this? Because everyone feels like he was riling everybody up because all the things were flying all over social media and Reddit and Icon Era and all the slum and swill.
But he never spread that. He never put that out there. Somebody else put that out there.
But you're sensitive enough to understand that when Jez speaks, ears are going to be listening, right?
Obviously, but he wasn't speaking. That was in a forum on you know what I mean? Like on Discord where he was talking to somebody and then someone screenshotted it and then shared it. That wasn't a report by him. I think that was something a little bit more nefarious where someone took a screenshot. Oh, got him now.
Yeah, it's like somebody in the group that said, let me send this to someone, and it spread like wildfire. But
It's like that Instagram meme. Got your ass.
Got
You know that one where the guy's got the
when
camera?
he's in the car.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in the car. He takes the picture. Got your ass.
It's
That's
the joke.
exactly
Like, when you
what
watch
it
your
was.
buddy walk out of the bar with the big booty girl, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Got your
Exactly that.
ass."
Yeah, that was exactly what that was. Okay, everybody in the
Yeah.
chat, you know that Instagram meme? That's exactly.
Eliza
what it was.
Vasquez says he said it on Twitter too. Yeah, he was also replying on Twitter. I was actually watching more of the Twitter interaction, which was probably a lot of the same that was going on Discord. But I texted Jez that night, not to say, "What are you doing, man?" But I was like, I said, Jez, don't you think if Xbox, and this is the discussion we'll have, is we'll end the third-party discussion on this note. I said, don't you think Xbox has a better chance of growing Game Pass and their economy if they just keep these games exclusive for at least a year? And he's like, no, bro, like, think about, they'll make hundreds of millions of dollars off of PlayStation. They'll make so much money. And I was like, well, like if Elder Scrolls 6 comes out and it's available on PlayStation day one, how do you expect a big game like that to even grow Game Pass? Because they've already shown they're not going to grow the console because they said you don't need it. And then they're not really prioritizing the consoles. The console is really not going to grow because, well, where's that report? Before I say this last thing, hold on. It's on my notes. Where's my cursor go? Gaming was down 48% in quarter one compared to a year ago. AMD says if you look at gaming demand, it's been quite weak. That's well known. Also, they have inventory issues. We guided down more than 30% in the first and second quarters, and the second half will be even lower than the first half. That is how we are looking for gaming business this year. And I spit. So yeah, I don't care who you are. Console gaming, like we've talked about, it's flatlined. So what was the other thing I was going to say? How are you, if you're not worried about growing the console, you have to at least grow the Game Pass business, Mag. And if you don't have big draws I feel like I've said this 100 times. If you don't have an exclusivity window of some sort, I think it needs to be a year. If you really want Elder Scrolls 6, buy it on PC, buy it on Xbox consoles, play it on xCloud, play it on a laptop, play it on a Samsung TV, play it on whatever TVs get support for on-demand gaming. Or, wait a year and play it on PlayStation. PlayStation is the only one that has to wait, and they've got plenty of games. So that's what I was asking Jez.
All right, but
what's your take on that, Mag?
Well, I was going to say the one thing is, we've discussed it before, and all the stuff that I've heard and stuff you've heard, none of those were new games. None of those were like, oh, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. That was all just people, they're just spouting off whatever. What we had heard was comprehensive, not comprehensive, excuse me, I should say somewhat comprehensive lists that were under discussion that were going to go over to PlayStation to entice people to go into the Xbox ecosystem, not to leave the Xbox ecosystem. That's the one thing that people get wrong every time. When I hear things about, and I've heard about, when people talk about Halo or they talk about the Gears collection, that kind of thing, that absolutely makes sense to go third party day one. And some people have said that it is. Some people, some people that I actually hold pretty high in standard are saying that is going to happen. The MCC collection and the Gears collection are going to go to third party day one. Not saying that's fact. I'm just saying that's what I've heard.
MCC's been out for 9 years or whatever,
But here's the thing. Then Xbox at the Xbox showcase announces a new offshoot Halo game. Okay, let's just say, and they just whatever, and they announce it, whatever game, and then people are playing the Master Chief Collection. Go, man, this is pretty dope. And then they want to go, and they're like, oh, there's a new one out. Then they go over to that other ecosystem to play the new game, just like this Hellblade situation where you had people on the PS4 played Hellblade 1 are going over to the Xbox and PC ecosystem to play Hellblade 2. So why wouldn't that work? You announce Gears 6.
Yeah.
At the showcase this year, and then you give the Gears collection. I know some people are going to throw themselves out the windows, you know what I mean, for even saying that. But you get those people into that ecosystem, you put in a trophy system. You got people battling it out and whatever else, and you get all these people, and you get the game player, and you get the game base up again, and you get all the numbers coming in, and people playing multiplayer and whatever else. And then Gear 6 comes out. It's available on Xbox, Xbox supported platforms, and PC.
It's available everywhere but a PlayStation. I mean, that's
And
really
everywhere
what it
but a
comes down to.
PlayStation. Exactly. So then what do? They're going to go over there, and if they love it and it's awesome, they're going to, which it will be, they're going to go play it on the Xbox or PC, and Xbox wins. How do people not see that? No one said anything about Elder Scrolls. No one said anything about Contraband. No one said anything about Fable.
Or Hellblade.
That's not, or Hellblade. Well, yeah, like, no, not yet. Like, no one said anything about those.
What Jez is saying, Mag, is that, which you're kind of alluding to, is that Xbox, none of their games are safe. They will, at one point, they will go to PlayStation.
I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that either. I don't think like I just said, I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 and those other games are going to go over there for quite a while, or if at all.
I do. I think they will.
So?
But yeah, but I mean, I'm just kind of looking at.
Sure.
I look at it as the double dip, the Rockstar or the PlayStation model that seems to work, where you sell it everywhere but a PlayStation. You grow Game Pass because you can't get it anywhere else. So I mean, if you're not going to buy an Xbox, at least you're gonna sign up for Game Pass and get all these great games, because Xbox has all these games, right? So at least you're growing that. And then somebody in the chat said, then you're just training people to wait for ports. Well, there's certain types of people that will wait for ports, or wait for a sale, or wait until it's really old and really dirt cheap. But that, I don't know if that's like really all of the market that we're talking about.
But he's not wrong. That's a portion of the market.
Sure.
Like, for example, when I talked to normies about the Hollywood stuff or whatever else, and I'm like, oh yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is coming out. I know some guys who went to go see it in Las Vegas at CinemaCon. They reported it back to me, and they said the movie was awesome and this and that, whatever, blah blah. And then I talked about it with some neighbors of mine, and the first question is, oh, when's it coming to streaming? Because they're not gonna, they just don't go to movie, and I'm like, it's in the movie theater. And then like, it's not coming to Netflix or whatever. And I'm like, no, it's in the movie theater. Like we've been doing for the last 100 years. You go to the movie theater to watch a movie.
That's
like,
perfect.
You know what I mean?
That's perfect.
So
you bring that up.
Same idea. There is a certain amount of conditioning that goes on with the Game Pass subscription model and PS Plus. Not to the same extent, obviously, because they never announced day and date. But yes, there is a bit of conditioning there where people will wait. So anyways, carry on. What were you gonna say?
No, it's good that you say that, because what's it called? Fall Guys, that new movie, Fall Guy?
Yeah, Fall Guy. Yeah.
It's big movie, a big people, Emily Blunt's in it and Ryan Gosling, right? And it's losing money because people are conditioned to not go to the theater anymore from what's happened over the past 4 years. So I would like to have a small soapbox speech and tell you, if you're fighting the plastic war, if you're waiting for Xbox to bolster up the Xbox console, or if you're a PlayStation fanboy who's like, the PS5 is going to rain, those spiked ears on the white PS5 are gonna like ivory tower looking over like the land, you are sorely mistaken. The age of men is over. Shout out to Bernard Hill. Rest in peace. He's amazing.
Rest in peace, Bernard Hill.
Yeah, amazing. I think the age of consoles is on its last legs, and it will thrive for I don't know, 5, 6, 8, 10 years, right? It'll still be going, but it is becoming
10 years for sure.
Yeah.
But after that, I can't say where we're going to go.
Yeah. So I think that if you're hoping that PlayStation is going to reverse their idea to go to PC, you're going to find out in the coming year or the coming months, they are going to be going to PC as soon as possible. One of the things that Jez said to me, which I said, because in my opinion right now, PlayStation is even struggling a bit, and they're supposed to be the ones on top. Jez said, dude, they have a 4% margin. They're effed if they don't change soon. Costs are going up, and they need to stay ahead of the curve. And I have to remind myself that PlayStation could be the top selling console. Meg and I don't talk about Nintendo, right? Because they just those don't equate. It's not the same thing.
They're their own thing.
They can make chocolate pudding lasagna, and it'll be a home run. All right. Did you try the hot fudge lasagna?
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, right. PlayStation's hurting. They used to be 7% margins. Jez is saying it's now at 4%. They are hurting. The only way to fix that is to cut down how much they spend on a game, which means smaller games, smaller production, or piecemeal them, Or get the and is what I should say, is get those on PC as soon as possible. We're gonna get off the third party thing. I'm gonna ask Mag this question about piecemealing games. What do you think about a big 40-hour AAA game now being turned into a 20-hour game for $50, ends on a cliffhanger, part 2 comes out in 2 years?
Fine, I'm good with that.
I kind of like that.
I like they go for that, and then until AI takes over, and then they're able to release AAA games every 2 years, I say go with that model.
When he says AI take over, he means AI taking on all the busy work and making
that's 100% happening.
Yeah.
So that industry eventually is doomed, except for a select amount of people, maybe 30 to 50 people per studio. The rest of it's going to be all autonomous, and that's just the way of things. But anyways, we're not going to get into that again.
I'm going to ask the audience: do you like the idea of 20-hour, $50 games? And just assume that I mean instead of 40-hour, $70 games. It's a yes or no question, and it's going in the poll right now.
Think about a game like, you know how it works? Think about a game like Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Okay.
Mirage is a 25-hour game. If you want to get 1,000 out of 1,000 or platinum it's about 25 to 30 hours. That's a great experience right there.
Yeah.
Now, their only mistake is that, but the thing is, everybody knows Ubisoft's game, so to speak. But that was like for $79.99 though. That was a little expensive for, you know what I mean? Like for that, I would have probably gone with maybe the $49.99 US, $59.99 Canadian would have been just fine for that game. And that's like I said, that's about a 25 to 30-hour completion. And it was a smaller, more digestible open world. I thought it was great. And I'm still playing it now. I absolutely love it. But it's great. It's smaller. It's not so overwhelming. It's not like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I put 282 hours into the game. Or Odyssey.
Arnold Schwarzenegger when you said hours.
Yeah, hours.
No!
But Assassin's Creed Odyssey, to get that 1750 out of 1750 in achievements, that took me almost 300 hours. But that's a little ridiculous. But I would have paid $100 for that. Like, I would have no problem paying $100 for that, because to get that much entertainment, amazing. But
and you paid 60 US or whatever it was in Canadian money back then.
Right, plus the DLC, which I got discounted later or whatever else. But the thing is, at the end of the day, is that I would have no problem with that until they solve what I would like to call the salary crisis, which is what's happening in the industry. And that I talked to somebody in the industry, and they've literally openly said, we are literally pricing ourselves out of careers.
Wow.
And this is not me. Okay?
Yeah.
This is them telling me that they are pricing themselves out of a career. And I'm like, I know you are. Because I know some of the biggest tech people on the planet. You know what I mean? Like when I go visit Mr. Bitcoin and all those guys, and I'm talking to them, and they tell me what the trends that are coming in the next 10 to 25 years and whatever else. I'm not just talking. I'm hearing it from the people who actually shape this planet. And they're telling me this stuff. And I'm just like going, holy crap, I guess that actually does make a lot of sense. And at the end of the day, that's just the way it's going to be. And so I would say that smaller, digestible IP would actually be a much better idea. Smaller studios, smaller productions, and maximize profit that way. Because I think also, don't forget, people don't have a crap ton of money. Eggs are triple the price. Groceries are triple the price. Everybody's bills gone through the roof. A lot of people can't afford $70 to $100 games, even though games should reflect that because of what's going on right now.
And they're complaining about the time it takes to sink into those games, and they feel like they've overstayed their welcome.
That's the other thing too. Now you look at the situation; it's not financially feasible, and this is where AI is going to come in. But we'll talk about that another time when it happens. But what's going to happen? Like, you can't take 7 years to make a game. You cannot take 8 years to make a game. You can't. Like right now,
it brings the cost up of all of your overhead and your employees.
Right.
It inflates it.
Now, we have to also factor in there was a pandemic in the middle of that messed up 2 years of everybody's time. But let's face it, when Phil went on stage in 2017 and announced all those acquisitions, remember that? The 4 or 5 studios, whatever it was, and one of them was Playground. And he said he literally announced / didn't announce Fable then. And now they're putting their open world expertise in a new project. More on that soon. Fast forward 7 effing years and the game still hasn't come out. So they were already working on Fable in 2017, at least maybe in the conceptual stage. However,
yeah, I mean, I've heard conflicting reports that they didn't actually start until 2019, but
what the hell did they do for 2 years?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, because as far as I know, Playground had an RPG framework for a game, and Microsoft's like, well, we just bought you. Let's make that into Fable.
Yeah. Make it in Fable. Yeah. Use the assets in order to make it. So now the thing is, that's not financially feasible. So you're right. I agree with you. I think that you shorten them up 25, 30 hours, lower the price. I think you'll get more sales that way, more engagement. And I think, yeah, you're right. That's it.
Wild Samurai in the chat says Perfect Dark went dark. Well, we're going to see Perfect Dark at the showcase. I am very sure of it.
Let's talk about the showcase.
I think we're going to see Perfect Dark at the showcase, and I've heard more than one person say they think it's going to be there. So I think it's time. And in fact, on my channel, there's been 2 years in a row where I said, hey, we're going to see an update for Perfect Dark, and it was nothing. Before I talk about the showcase, I got to say about Hellblade, because it buttons up what we're talking about, Mag. Hellblade, according to Hargeet Chani, I guess he looked into it, was not a $300 million project for 6 years. It is actually a $25 million project with a dozen employees working on the game for the most of it. It sounds like they only spent about 25 million or 50 million or something like that on Hellblade 2. Did I say Helldivers? I swear I said Helldivers 2.
Hey, you know what? I heard Hellblade.
I think I said Hellblade.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. That's funny.
Let's see what the chat thinks about that poll, by the way. Oh, yeah. See, the poll is really down with the idea, dude.
Yeah,
like,
and
so
I think
that Assassin's Creed Mirage, Helldivers 2 vibe, I think, is a lot more digestible.
And speaking of Perfect Dark, 2 years ago when I made a video about everything we knew about Perfect Dark, there was a rumor back then that it was going to be episodic, that it would be like 6 or 8 hours, and then the next part would come out a year later, and people were really mad. I think if you ask people that question today, they might be like, you know, if it's a killer 8 hours and I get to play the next segment in a year or 2 years later, yeah, I'm good with that. I got plenty of games to play. We'll talk about the showcase. What's that?
Remember Phil said that on CNBC? Remember there was that, he had that interview on CNBC after Bethesda the acquisition.
Yeah.
And he specifically talked about how his idea of Game Pass and stuff, and how he wanted to put episodic content that would keep people coming back and subscribing month after month if you released like a chapter a month. And remember, he talked about that for a little bit. Now, nothing really came of that, but I mean, it was an idea.
Maybe that's where people kind of put that together.
I don't think it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was a bad idea. I mean, it loses a bit of a momentum of the game, but like, yeah, I get it.
I think a couple of years ago, we wanted bigger and bigger and bigger from Xbox because those things were missing from the studios. But now we're kind of, if you can make a affordable game that's really awesome, it doesn't eat up your entire month. I think there's just certain games. Somebody in the chat said I got 1,500 hours in Fallout 4, they said. And there's certain games where you can just kind of play them forever and ever. And some of those are multiplayer based that you play forever and ever. So it just really depends. And I think some games, I'll say it. I mean, it's my opinion. I really loved Dragon's Dogma, but by the end of the 50 hours, I felt like it kind of had overstayed and over like burdened me down for a while. I really liked it. So I was happy when I got to like the first part of the ending. I'm like, I'm done for now. So let me get these supers. We got Snow Dragon. Thank you so much for the Canadian 5. Says, rest in peace to Game On Daily. Rest in peace, my Elite Series. 2, B Button. Rest in peace, Sony on PC. And rest in peace, the Leafs. Do not dismay if your Xbox controller broke. My,
that's a lot of death.
Yeah, rest in peace, all that. My Gears controller was broken. The bumper was stuck. Hopefully it's in focus. Let me get back to the
no, it's in focus. I can see it. Yeah.
What a great controller. The bumper was completely locked down. And I just looked on Reddit and they're like, pop the battery case off and just take your fingernail and go click. Works great now. So anyway, see if you can fix it. Spray some that alcohol spray in there and see if you can fix it. Or pour a beer in it. That'll fix it too.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Where was I, Mag? Okay, we got thank you, Snowder. I appreciate that. Hargeet Johnny with a $2 super. Hargeet, don't send me supers. Love you though. He says, rest in peace to Game On Daily. We got 2 in a row, so I gotta say, Game On Daily closed their business, so to speak. They have a aggregate website where they cover all of the news. It's all there in one site. They also have a great podcast go live that is a big inspiration for what I do here. And I'm really good friends with Asa and Gaz from Game On Daily. And they had to kind of shut down their venture and they're doing their own thing, but they've been a great show for 4 or 5 years. They're amazing. So big shout out to those guys. Kristen Senior says, Cole, just need to adjust your blinds, your window blinds. Yeah, now the sun's down, but I appreciate that. Emperor Hound 393, thank you so much for the $2.79 Canadian. Says,
Emperor Hound.
He goes, Mag, when are we partying up in Diablo?
Dude. Oh, in Diablo, I thought you meant partying up in like in real life. I was like, dude, anytime, man, let's go. In Diablo, I haven't started it yet, so you know what? Soon, man, soon. Whenever I'm not playing Crocodile Detective, or or Goat Simulator 3.
It was mostly Fortnite this weekend. I kept seeing you jump on, and then it was that was not you. Yeah.
No, it wasn't me. That was my daughter. It was my daughter just losing her mind on Fortnite. Yeah. So
I played some Fortnite with my kids. I also played Lightyear Frontiers, which is a mech farming game, and it's kind of like you just go out and explore. Yeah, I saw that. And it's kind of a cool little chill game. There's no combat, so it's just kind of like we just kind of hang back and just. My kids and I just hang back and talk while we play the game. And hey, we need to get this, so let's go looking for these minerals. It's kind of a chill game. It's on Game Pass. Check it out. It won't cost you much. We got Arturan XP. Thank you for the $2 super. Says, do you guys prefer remakes, sequels, or new IPs? Oh man, that's a really cool question.
Well, you can't make me pick one. That's impossible.
Arturan XP demands that you pick one, Mag.
Come on, man.
Remake?
All right.
A remake of a game you love, a sequel to a game you love, or a new IP. God. Which one are you jumping for first? Don't get mad.
All right, let's go with a sequel, because at least it's a sequel to a game that I probably like or a series that I enjoy, and at least I'm getting a new story.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go with sequel.
I think I'm going to agree with you too, because a new IP can be pretty dicey.
It could be dicey because you don't know if it's gonna hit. You don't know if you don't know if it's gonna stick the landing. You don't know if it's gonna. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's go with the tried and true. I'm gonna go with the sequel.
And I think the sequel, like you said, you get really excited about. Thank you for that one, Arthur. And you get really excited about the next installment of something that you already loved. If it's a sequel to a game you don't like, then you just go, "Hey man, I want a new IP." Yodana Kizada, who's been one of the longest channel moderators ever. He says, thank you for the $2 super. What are chat's ideas of good marketing? Sound off. I hope you guys wrote there what you think good marketing is. I think
I did. I was watching
on TV. What did you say?
Yeah, no. I was watching what people were saying, and people were saying like Xbox needs to do better with their marketing. A lot of mixed messaging, stuff like that. A lot of convolution and a lot of confusion in the way that they market stuff. Like, just go out there and start doing some Hollywood marketing, man. Start hitting the NBA playoffs. Like, the NBA playoffs are happening right now. Baseball is kicking off right now. Hockey, like hockey. When I was watching the Leaf games like the last week or so, or the series against Boston, every time someone got smashed in the boards, what did I see? PS5 across every single board. I mean, now it's all like holograms. Like, it's all like, they just like kind of.
Oh, it's all like on a green screen. Yeah.
Yeah. They all superimpose everything now on the boards. But doesn't matter. I didn't see Xbox. All I saw was PlayStation. And they do that all the time. Remember God of War on the basketball court? You remember that?
Yep.
When they did the projection right on the court at halftime. What are you doing? Spider-Man all over the New York subways. Let's go.
Yeah, like what
are we
waiting
for?
Show some confidence in your stuff. And we don't need the marketing for us. Like, we're already going to buy the game or play the game, but like, say it with your whole chest. Get out there and plaster something across an entire building in someone's Prius. Like, get out there and market the game. Shout out to that guy's Prius. By the way.
Yeah, put Senua on the side of the Empire State Building, climbing up like King Kong.
Yeah,
screaming her head off. I don't know. Do something with like banshees flying around her head instead of airplanes. Do something. I'm starting to sound like Seinfeld. Do something.
What is it with all this marketing not happening?
What is Aaron Greenberg doing?
He's got a new Pop-Tart movie that he's wanted to make for like 10 years. A new movie about Pop-Tarts. Shout out to Seinfeld.
Let him do what he wants, man. He's worth like $500 million. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Hey, I like him.
Yeah, I like him. He is a funny dude, man. Yeah. Anyways, carry on.
It's funny that Seinfeld, I saw a reel today because I was like doom scrolling and watching reels, and Seinfeld's like, I've always wanted to. I thought it was funny that the way they made Pop-Tarts, so I wanted to make it into a bit. And Brian Regan has the best bit about Pop-Tarts. He's like, "What? Why do you need instructions to make Pop-Tarts?" So I won't do it because that's his job. We got Angry Hippie says, "Thank you for the super chat, Angry Hippie. We appreciate your support. Xbox learned this with games for Windows Live. If a $1 trillion company bent the knee, what did they think Sony would do?" Now, Sony has bent the knee about the PS Vita support. They bent the knee about, there was something else recently that they bent the knee on. The neon, yeah. But, I mean, it has been kind of rare for PlayStation to go, you know what, our bad. It was good to see. What's this next one we got? Udana Kazada says, Magnum says Mag's favorite rappers are the Island Boys.
Fantastic. No, they're not. The one who always holds my heart is Notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls is still one of the greatest to ever live, and like the top 5 for me would always have to be Wu-Tang Clan, Run DMC, Notorious B.I.G. of course, Eminem, and I don't know. I could find someone else in there.
Remind me about Wu-Tang Clan when we start talking about the Xbox showcase in a second here.
Well, I mean,
Brian
they're nothing
Harris.
to F with, so you know.
Brian Harris, thank you so much for the 5. He says, I love the late 70s, early 80s Blondie, Heart, Police, B-52s, Peter Frampton, Kiss, Queen, Nirvana. Then he goes into the 90s. Wings. Oh, he says Wings. Oh my gosh.
Wings.
I just cannot get into rap. He says,
Good.
I love the Wings. People are like, the Wings.
It's all good. You can do whatever you want. You know, Rock Lobster. Sorry, he mentioned B-52. I love B-52s, man.
I do not.
So much fun.
As a guy who spent like 3 years in karaoke bars.
Yeah. No, I'm not a
Fudge! The freaking Love Shack. People would sing Love Shack almost every night, and I'm like,
I don't like Love Shack, but like Rock Lobster is one of the most insane songs I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh gosh, Meg.
Nas is in the top 10, but he's not top 5. Not for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, people are like asking me about Nas. Illmatic was probably one of the greatest albums ever made in the hip hop world, but he still wasn't consistent enough for me to put him in the top 5. Sorry, that's just my call.
I mean, how ancient do I sound when I say this? My favorite rappers are DJ Quick, Warren G, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Tupac. Like those are that's pretty ancient. That's like 40 years ago.
I kind of forgot. I just realized I kind of completely forgot about the West Coast, which is insane because I love Snoop.
But
I would say,
side.
Yeah, but you know what? I listen to all the West Coast stuff. I mean, I know all the albums off by heart. I know every lyric. Ice Cube, but you know what though, dude?
Does that sound so ancient to you guys though? Dude, when I say that, it's like 30 years ago.
Ice Cube is playing 10 minutes up the road from my house in like 2 weeks. So next weekend. So no, what am I talking about? This Thursday. Hey, the 9th. He's playing here in where I live. I would think that Eazy-E with
I don't like
everything that Eazy-E. I liked Eazy-E stuff, and his first solo album, Easy Does It, was just a masterpiece. That's my call. Anyways, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, we sound like a bunch of old ancient. K1 says Ja Rule, Monaco. Yeah. Preston says rap sucks. You know, as I've gotten older, I
listen to everything, man.
I listen to everything. Like there's even some country music that just because the musicians are fantastic.
I listen to country music. I listen to all that stuff, man. Tim McGrath's great. Great.
He's great. I mean, what's up with the country music?
Dude, 2 months ago, I went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, man. One of my friends, Sasha, she's a country singer. She's great. She's performing in Florida. She's in Nashville all the time performing.
Well, I mean, the country, I love stars are among the most talented musicians. They definitely are. Takes a lot more to. So I've got a super chat here from Spartan661. Thank you so much for the $10 super. Says, I'm also a so-called guitarist. Yes, Spartan, I am also a so-called guitarist. I'm taking lessons, like actually taking official lessons every Wednesday afternoon. And I sit down and I go, man, I realize for 25 years, I know nothing. So it's been really a thing. Cool. He says, is that a Gibson Les Paul licensed guitar any better than any of the other in your opinion? Or can you say guitar sounds are subjective? My opinion is that almost all guitars nearly sound identical. It's just about how they look and if they're solid playing wise. That's my opinion. I've played a lot of guitars. Heard a lot of play tests, but this isn't a guitar show. But this is a Epiphone Les Paul, which is half the price or even less than a Gibson, because right now the Epiphones are way better than the Gibsons, and they are. So somebody tried to actually gear shame me the other day, Mag. That I had a picture with my Marshall amp. I have a 12-inch Marshall amp combo, and the guy's like, "Oh, lol," and I'm like, "Whoa, what the crap? Holy crap! Don't do that." So thank you, Spartan. This guitar fell off the wall one day when I was taking a nap in my game room, Mag. I was in the middle of a work day, and I was like, I'm tired. I'm going to take a quick nap during lunch. And I work in here, and it was hot, and I was laying here, and the wall hanger pulled out of the wall, and that guitar went boom and landed on the desk, and I about had a heart attack. And it's so good. Yeah, but we're okay. We're okay. NC says, thank you for the $2. Says, PC players don't buy PS5s. They wait for the ports. That's absolutely right.
That's true. Yeah, I'll give him that.
Let me see. Let's see. I got a couple of, let me make sure these are in here. Oh yeah. Red Wolf, thank you so much for the channel membership chat. It says, my favorite is the AC. That's what he said to me the other day. He goes, my favorite Assassin's Creed game is the one where it doesn't have Assassin's Creed in it. And I'm like, what? But what he meant was my favorite Assassin's Creed game is Valhalla, if you're not counting the original Assassin's Creeds. But the way he said it was like, I like the Assassin's Creed games that don't have the Assassin's Creed. I'm like, what are you saying? So he wanted to send me a chat here. Spartan, thank you so much for gifting several memberships in the chat. I appreciate that. Let me see if some of these other ones, I think I got them. Risk it for the biscuit. Thank you so much for making Max day. He says Halo was episodic. Yeah, I mean, kind of. It's just a bunch of sequels, but it was like 6 to 8 hour campaigns, right? So
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, their focus was also the multiplayer. I mean, you could say that about Call of Duty too, right? Because Call of Duty is like a 6 to 8 hour campaign, but releases every year.
Yeah.
But the focus is multiplayer. Serve. Rakim is awesome. Follow the leader. Yes.
Eric B. and Rakim. Is that who you're talking about?
Rakim,
yeah. That's classic.
Follow the leader was one of the dopest songs of all time.
There's a lot of music chat going on in there, and that makes me feel better because
yeah, man, it's fun. I just listened to the new Pearl Jam too today. Like I was just like, oh my god, this is awesome. It's really, really good.
Is it really?
Yeah, no, dude, you gotta listen to there's a new song called Black Matter. It's amazing. So listen to it. Listen to that one song in particular. That's the first single. Anyways, carry on.
See, if you get in your 50s, you still make it happen.
Dude.
Bag just shows us proof. Yeah.
Yeah.
But remember I asked you to ask me about a rap group when we talked about the showcase? Do you remember who I asked you about?
Yeah, of course. Wu-Tang Clan.
So what do you know about this Wu-Tang game? Because it apparently is materialized. I've got notes on it for my next video I'm going to work on in the next week or so.
I've heard nothing. Anybody that I speak to, not one iota of information could I squeeze out of anybody about this game. So this is all you. I will sit back and listen. So go for it. Talk.
I mean, I have a lot of. Hold on, if I'd probably be better if I pull up the notes here.
Well, start talking while I go pee, and then I'll join you in 35 seconds because I drank.
Oh my
I drank
gosh!
Like 3 of these cups, which are like a liter and a half of water.
I don't know what that means in American, but whatever.
Like
I'm
2
just kidding,
gallons.
Meg. Go take a leak. Hey, if you shake it more than once, you're playing with it. Just so you know.
Well, hey, be right back.
I just clicked the wrong thing. Okay. Oh, come on. What's with my Google Docs is like completely locked up. So the news I got was from Insider Gaming, which is fairly public if anybody's watching what they have to say. And that is so funny that this tab completely like is not responding. But there, let me get this. The Wu-Tang Clan game is supposed to be like a 4-player co-op kung fu style cooperative game. Wait, do I have internet? What the heck? Okay, everything's good, right? Google Docs is like, what do you want? What do you want? I'll just read this really quick, or I'll just grab the hot spots here. It's a third-person. Yeah, that's good to know. It's a third-person melee-oriented RPG, 4-player co-op. It will include all the Wu-Tang Clan members. The game's soundtrack has their music. Lots of loot and weapon and gear from defeated enemies that you can pick up. It's being made by Brassline Entertainment, a new studio founded in 2019. This is a game that we've heard about for a while. It has fast-paced melee combat in third person. Players can choose from 4 different weapons that have unique play styles, swords, dual swords. So it sounds like a Gauntlet-style action-adventure game if you like rap music, Wu-Tang. And Brian Harris won't play it because he doesn't like that sort of thing. But that's what's going on with the Wu-Tang. So there's a bunch of stuff. And as we get along in the show, we're going to talk more about the showcase. I don't want to dive into everything that could possibly happen because we've got a lot of time until more information is going to get closer to that. If we beat that into the ground for the next 3 weeks, we would probably all go insane. So let me see. I've got Paul Rushbrook sends a super sticker. It is, it's like a little kissing emoji. Thank you for the Austrian $8 Paul Rashbrook. Sorry about that. Appreciate you. Brian Harris says, Pushing Polygon's having I saw that in the chat, Pushing as well. Thank you. He says he's having problems with super chats. Mrs. Polygon is having her birthday on the 8th. Hey, bro, my birthday is also on the 8th. So we have to share some cake or something. Yeah, my birthday's in a couple days. I'm going to be the ripe old age of 742 years.
That is true. That's a true statement.
Look at all that. Look at that, Mag. I've earned it. Look at it. Look at it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to birthday, and I've got to figure out where I'm going to go to eat and all that stuff. Sofa King says, Cole, are you going to try Stellar Blade? No. If it wasn't so egregiously egregious.
I just can't get to it. It's on the wish list. Like, on PlayStation, you could do you could create a wish list. So you just go to all the games. So I make a wish list, and then the cool thing is it notifies me when it goes on sale. But my backlog, I'm still digging through it because I'm,
Yeah. You haven't even played Dying Light 2 yet. Hey, Crow says, did you wash your hands, Mag? No, he only went number 1. He didn't have to.
Of course I wash my hands. I'm a chef. I wash my hands 400 times a day. It's ridiculous. I got no skin left. I'm surprised my hands are just bones. But yes.
Well, they kind of are, you old man.
Yeah,
Did you wash your hands?
Did you wash your hands today? Got your ass.
That's perfect. That's so perfect. Oh,
sorry,
my gosh.
I love that. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Red Wolf says, massively egregious. Yeah. You know what? I need to add you on Instagram because there's a couple reels I wanted to send you this weekend, and I'm like, we're not even added on there, so I'll add you on there.
You know where to find me.
Yeah, I'll find you somehow. I don't know how to find you on Instagram. You thirst trap? I don't know where to look.
Well, I changed my name.
Right.
It's not. I don't use the mag for that because a lot of that's my the only person who I have on my socials outside of that is Noof Nukem because him and I get together twice a year, so we actually know each other. So you do too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know who I am. So yeah, you'll find me. I'll send it to you. What the hell am I doing? Yeah.
I've got one hot ticket item. Starfield's getting its update on the 15th, which is in a week and a half or so.
Yes.
It's going to have 60 frames, which means Todd Howard completely lied and said, "Oh, it's a creative choice." And hey, the Xbox dev team really taught us how to make the game dance at 30 frames. Yeah, I'm not too happy about that. I spent the last 100 hours playing it on PC because I wanted 60. Red Wolf, who is in the chat, made an incredible video that broke down all the things and the things that are to come for the Starfield update, which is really cool. They've got the dynamic maps so that you can get around in the major hub cities. They've got, he dug in, he did a bunch of searching and covered this really well in his video. Go check out his channel. It's Red Wolf. I think it's just Red Wolf. I'm sorry, Red. I don't know. I just have you on my subscribe list. I think it's Red Wolf Renegade it's Red Wolf Renegade on YouTube. He put out this video, Mag, about the update 2 days after Bethesda had already explained what was there. He made this great video. He opened it up with, you just have to see it. He opened this hilarious precursor for the video, and he won over some 200 or 300 subscribers over the weekend. So he went from under 500 subs or under 600, under 500 to 700 subs. And it's been really cool to watch that because I know how that feels when something takes off and everyone's like, he said, the comment section is really super positive. I've got a nugget that goes with that. Darn it, I didn't have the live thing up for you. I've got a nugget for Starfield. Remember the complaint that if you walk for 10 minutes in one direction, that it tells you can't go that way and you have to like take off and land somewhere else? What if Bethesda's fixed that and you can walk all the way around back to where you came and see your rear end in the game? Would that be a game changer for you? Mag doesn't really play the game.
No, that wouldn't be a game changer for me. That would just be a longer waste of time. I want to be able to have a more cohesive experience. Like I'm into exploring and stuff, but I'm not into like a massive amount of exploring where I'm just going to be like, all right, I'm just going to wander this desert landscape for like 30 minutes. I'm not into that. I want something like a little bit more curated. However, they're listening to stuff. So at least they're working on, you know what I mean? They're working on a better player experience for better quality of life features. Yeah. I'm open. I didn't enjoy the game when it came out, but I'm obviously more than open to re-download it at some point and just say, you know what? Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like give it another shot. Let's see what's going on here. They throw in a 60 FPS mode, something like that. They do some other quality of life.
I mean, they got that coming on the 15th with a 60 FPS.
That's what I'm saying. So but when I get a chance to get to it, then I'll take a look at it and I'll give it another shot.
So we think by the end of this year, when the Shattered Space content comes out, which will add other new mechanics and open up the game even more and flourish it and make it more feature intensive.
Sure.
The land vehicles are supposed to be coming with that.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. I did hear about that.
If you drive, now let's assume if you're in a land vehicle for Starfield, I won't make this really long because Starfield, a lot of people are kind of done for now. But if you can drive 2 times faster than you can jetpack or walk, then that means you could get to the end of a tile on the planet in 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes. So you'd be more likely to run to the end of the map and be told you can't go that way if you're on a land vehicle. So the rumor is that they have fixed that problem, that you can stream the game, you could stream the world so that you could drive as long as you want and get to the end of the map to the ocean or around to the other side if you wanted to, because that was a limitation that maybe they're working out, and that could be pretty awesome. So that's, yeah. How old is Colt? Wayne Broadbent. Yeah, take a guess. I mean, I've given enough evidence for people as I talk about what my favorite rap music was in high school. So yeah, and I mean, just look at me. Look at me. I'm old, and I've earned it. I've got 3 kids, 2 dogs, a house. I mowed the lawn today. I've earned it. I'm old. We're going to talk about the showcase in more detail as we go along, Mag. But I just want to give a couple nuggets, and the show has been already gone past our normal 2 hours, and I had a great time. I think we've got a lot to talk about next week. So, how are you feeling about it, Mag? You think Xbox is going to be all right? You think they're going to do well?
They're going to do fine. There's nothing. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They just need to. I hate to sound like what's his face from Wolf of Wall Street. You got to bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to bump those numbers up. They got to get people in there. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you're not going to do that without quality content. So they can announce till they're blue in the face about what they got coming out. But what they do have coming out has to stick the landing, starting with Hellblade. And I said it before on this very show. I said it on other shows. Hellblade 2 has to be the Iron Man of the MCU. If Hellblade 2 doesn't land, the rest of it's just not going to. It's just going to fall apart because now you're going to have 6 months of negative rhetoric, right?
Until you wait for the next game, yeah.
Until you wait to the next game. So Hellblade 2 has to be the Iron Man 1. Okay? That is absolutely what has to happen, and it has to lay that foundation so they could build up, because every time they start doing something great, they tank something else, and then all of a sudden they just lose that momentum. So
what does Jeff Bridges yell about Tony Stark in the cave? What was the line?
Yeah. Tony
remember?
Stark built, he built an arc reactor with a bunch of scraps
In a cave or something like that.
No, sorry, in a cave with a bunch of scraps, right? But the thing is that they have to start with that. Hellblade 2 has to be the Iron Man 1 and move on from there. You cannot have that. That game cannot miss. It cannot miss.
I agree.
It's been talked about for 5 effing years. We've been talking about this game. It's got to land. Like, it's got to stick the landing, and it's got to be incredible. And then from there, then you could start saying, all right, now that hit, get that team get Obsidian that's working on Avowed. You best make sure that it's the same quality bar as Hellblade 2 was, and then you work from there. And then you go to Activision and you walk in there and you say, hey, Call of Duty better slap this year, or I'm gonna slap you. You better make sure that it's amazing. And then Call of Duty's going to be hot. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, then you go over to Machine Games and you say, "Hi guys, you see what's up?" And then you got your little Billy Club, and you kind of like bang around a couple of laptops and be like, "Indiana Jones better be amazing because we just had 3 big hits in a row. We can't afford to have any game completely tank us, and then we have to start all over again." So it keeps.
It's not out of the realm of normalcy. Like, PlayStation has a really big game, then another one like Rise of the Ronin did not hit. Stellar Blades hitting. What was the one before that hit? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth hit. Not in sales.
Helldivers.
Helldivers is
did great. I mean, up until whatever. But I mean, they're still doing fine. But yes, and what it does though, I mean, I know I'm sounding a little ridiculous and a little bit over the top, unusual, right? But what it does do is that it also entices the teams to do better. Because then they look at their co-workers, right? They're all part of this umbrella. They're all part of this big happy or unhappy family, however you want to look at it. And they're just doing whatever. They're like, God damn it. It's like those, Bill and Joe from Obsidian are kicking ass right now.
Billy Joel
Billy Joel from Obsidian is kicking ass right now. And you know what I mean? With Avowed, we're working on Indy Jones. We're going to make it better than them because I want to.
We have John Kruger Mellencamp, dang it. Yeah, we're better than them. I
want to trash that in a cave with a bunch of scraps, so that you can make fun of them at the Christmas party. You'd be like, "Hey, I heard your game got an 86. We got 90. We got 91."
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I hope that Hellblade is in the high 80s.
Joking around.
I know.
I'm just joking around. But
I mean, Hellblade 1's an 81. Like I try to get people like.
But if you create a culture of success, Colt.
Yes.
All joking aside and all this nonsense.
Sure.
If you create a with a bunch of scraps, if you create a culture of success, it will entice people to continue that trend moving forward because they don't want to be the ones that are left out of the conversation of that culture of success. They want to be part of that zeitgeist. And because of that, that is why Hellblade has to hit. Yeah. And then from there, you move a trajectory upwards. And then from there, people will come. People will play. People will subscribe. More people will watch this show. People will do all these different things, and it's all based on the quality of their product. And that is what it is. We could talk for hours, which we have, about this, that, and the other, and policies and whatever else. None of it matters unless the games, that's what we're all here for, unless the games absolutely hit.
That's the only way that you see success is the game has to be well loved. It has to score high. It has to have lots of people playing and talking about it. And all those things are because the game is a success. It's good. It's just got to be a good game. Like we've talked about that, right? Like people have to be like, you got to play Indiana Jones by Machine Games. Like this game's really cool. Nerds and Other Legends, thank you so much for the $10 super. It says, happy 14-month anniversary, Mag. Happy early birthday, Colt, you handsome Taurus. For the showcase, I'm really looking forward to Perfect Dark. I am as well. Crystal Dynamics is fantastic. Unfortunately, they've got to ship Tomb Raider before Perfect Dark, but maybe it's time to see what that game looks like at the showcase. And then they say it comes out in a couple years. I don't know. I'm sick and tired of waiting. I'm really upset that Xbox showed.
I don't even talk about it. I don't even talk about those games.
Well, I mean, they should be here by now. They showed them in 2020 and 21, and here we are in 24. And if they don't make showcase, I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I thought we would have seen Gear 6 by now. Apparently, that's like that's a given at this point if you're a predicting person.
When did they announce the initiative coming together, like the actual studio?
2019.
There you go. It's 5 years.
Yeah, or
So,
6.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess coming up on 6.
So, I don't know what I'm going to be doing this week. I need to make another video. Thanks everybody for supporting my Fallout 4 mods video with the hot bikini montage. I don't know how that happened. I was in the editing process and like files got kind of shuffled around and all of a sudden there was like bikini thing. I don't know why it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Even got him in the shower. It wasn't me. So yeah, I don't know what happened there, but thank you. That video is at, 250,000 views, and I'm really super happy for the support. We got one from Red Wolf. How do I get this up here? He says, thank you for the $5 super chat. Red Wolf, don't ever send me a super chat again. I will literally refund you. He says, negative people, we can't seem to make our new podcast work. Chat. Colteastwood built his podcast in a cave with a box of scraps. I mean, I have Mag. He's literally a box of scraps.
That's it. I'm not Jebediah. You're Jebediah, even though I look like Jebediah with my bald head. Yeah.
I love the bald head. Mag, dude, I appreciate you. I have a good time. There it is. There it is, baby. Whew. That's what I'm talking about. Slick.
It is what it is, man.
Rick. Yeah. 2018 K1 says for the initiative. Yeah, I think it was 2018 because I remember I made that video around. I remember when I made it. Yeah, bro, 6 years. But am I surprised? 6 years to make a game, or it'll be 8 years. I mean, they're not the only ones taking 8 years to make a game. I don't know. Presta says Colt has to embarrass his kids daily with his sound effects. Yeah, they're like, Dad. Yeah, they don't like me. Kuga Cygnus says, when are you going to invite Timdog as a guest? I would love to have Timdog on. I just feel like some people who are not tolerant of what, when people flip and change, like that they wouldn't want to hear what he has to say. But I think it might be a good discussion. But, having Tim here for 2 hours, he might just completely pass out be too tired to deal with all of our nonsense, Mag. But I appreciate you. What are you playing for the week? And let's tell these people thank you, and let's get out of here.
Wrapping up my 5th round of Resident Evil 5 on professional difficulty. It is not fun. Working on that infinite rocket launcher. My God,
you heard about the new Resident Evil thing today, right?
Well, I did hear that. Yeah, well, I heard a couple of weeks ago that they were going to show it at the Sony showcase. Why? What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything. I'm just mad that it's going to be at the Sony showcase. I'm just giving my face.
You were just being you just bluffed me out? I thought you knew. No, apparently it's going to be shown at the Sony showcase, and then Capcom is showing one more game at the Sony showcase because they have a very good relationship. Resident Evil 9.
Capcom? What is it?
I don't know what the other game is, but apparently they're showing it. It's going to be Resident Evil 9, the mainstream series. So most likely it's going to be the end of the Winters series. No, it might be a smaller IP for all I know. I have no idea. Maybe it's another Monster Hunter. Who knows? But yeah, Resident Evil 9 will be shown, or not shown. Excuse me. It'll be announced at the Sony
revealed.
Revealed. Yeah, it'll be revealed. But that's still not going to come out till at least probably about another year. So I did hear rumblings of the possibility of somewhere in the range of the early part or for the first quarter going into the second quarter of 2025. So we shall see. Which is just in line with when Resident Evil Village came out and Resident Evil 7 came out. They came out between February and April of their respective years, and by next year it'll be 4 years since the launch of Resident Evil Village. So it makes sense. The RE engine is fantastic. It works well. They can work quickly with it. The assets are great. The next remake after Resident Evil 9. Well, sorry, excuse me, will come after Resident Evil 9.
Okay. Wait, so what's the next remake? What number?
They haven't announced it.
The Sony showcase that Mag is talking about will be really close to May 21st, the release.
Somewhere around the third week of week of May.
And
I
didn't hear that from MBG or any of those other guys, but you heard it here first on Ecstasy Podcast. There'll be a big showcase for PlayStation on the third week or toward the end of May.
Yep.
Because they will be in there before Xbox's showcase. And by the time Xbox showcase rolls around, we'll all have forgotten about the swill that PlayStation tried to show off and pass off as their own. And that's me being toxic to get us out of the show so we can go, Meg, you're amazing.
You're amazing. You're breathtaking.
Well, next week we'll talk about the showcase and FanFest
We will
and all
talk
that
about
stuff.
the showcase. Yes.
We'll talk more about that. And
everybody tune in next week. We'll go into more detail about our thoughts and opinions and some things we've heard and have some fun with it.
Yes. And next week, might be next week or the week after, Hypercharge is coming to Xbox, and I'm partnered with them. And it's a nice little partnership where he's like, hey, if I give you 4 codes, do you want to show some footage on your channel and give the codes away to your audience? So I'm like, heck yeah. So keep an eye out for that. It's not coming to Game Pass. And I think it's a $20 game, but bro, if you want to play as a G.I. Joe character and shoot a Barbie doll, you can do it in Hypercharge. Yeah. We'll talk about that as well. Meg, I think we're good. I think everything's rounded up. Johnny Quezada, thank you so much for being here in Happy Bomb's absence, and everybody who's in the chat and who is supporting us. Thanks a lot. We're going to get out of here. Meg and I are starving, tired, have to pee, and we'll wash our hands afterwards. And must be nice. Say something, Meg. I'm hitting the button.
Be nice.
You jerks.